Morning show. I'm your host, Evan. It's your place for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. Today is Panel Tuesday, which means Alex is going to be jumping on, Will's going to be jumping in. Hopefully, Mac will be here again, and who knows who else might stop by on your home, the official morning show of the Financial Revolution. I had to do a little extra radio announcement today because I've got I got the mic back, baby. For those who've been here since the beginning or who just want a little Rise Up Morning Show lore, when we started the show, we did it on Twitter, and it made social audio a lot easier to do. And somewhere in the transitory phase from Twitter to TikTok, my phone started to die back in the potato phone days, and so I couldn't plug it into a little dongle like this that I used to connect my soundboard. And then I lost my dongle. So I just put it off and put it off and put it off. But now I've got a new dongle. The soundboard is reconnected, which means, oh my gosh, it means I can do so much. Just wait till you see. Just wait till you see if you've never seen it before. The best part about this this soundboard, also, golly, that mic is crispy. The best part of this soundboard is not just making fun sounds like, let's see, like, or even, no. The best part about this soundboard is that it's got a ghost, and it's a ghost you know.
Hey, man. Hey, man. And that's just bullshit.
Oh, no, it's Alex.
My dad can beat up your dad. Little old Brad is a dumbass. This is a gross misrepresentation of the facts. I am so bored with cookie cutter projects.
The soundboard is back. We are Alex. It's the Rise Up Morning Show. Oh, I'm just so excited about it.
Hey, man.
What's going on, brother?
I was just going to say, do I go back to bed or...
Oh, man. Aren't you just so thrilled? The soundboard is back.
It's honestly really annoying, but hey, that's the best we can do.
I am so thrilled about it. I can't wait to get Will in this thing. I can't wait to just, have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, we're so back, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm alive.
Man, I get it. I'm tired this morning. I don't know what the heck happened. I was sneezing last night and sneezing. I couldn't get to sleep because I was just sneezing, man. I thought I was gonna blow my nose right off my face, dude.
Yeah, that's interesting. I had a bit of an allergy flare up the last few days as well, and I was like, I thought I was done with this part of the year, but apparently not.
Well, and you can hear it still, but now you can hear it on my 24 karat Technicolor microphone, my little sniffle. So sorry about that. If you've got a crypto question, leave it in the comments below. That's what we're here for. Just to help you make sense of this all. Alex, did you see it last night? I threw down the gauntlet. I told everybody that was the challenge, to explain cryptocurrency without using jargon or talking about speculation. I made a video about it, and I got to have a great conversation about it on that live discussion that you joined with me. Lady Money, our friend, was there, and I was just so thrilled with the quality of responses and the speed that people have made time to respond with. There have been some really good ones, including an actually cute kids show cartoon. I put it in my story, but those kids shows in the kids books, they can be kind of hokey, but this one was really good. So I've been digging that.
I saw a little bit of it, of the live, that is. It's cool to see people start talking about it in a different way.
I was just so glad about it. Like I honestly don't remember what we were talking about before I came. Oh, we were talking about somebody when I came on. Somebody started asking me questions about different ways you can tell if a smart contract has been burned and tools you can use to look for it. And I just asked that, and I was kind of impressed at how everybody just picked up the topic and ran with it, and I was really honored by that. I don't know if you know this, Alex, but I think in the last year we have become celebrities nowhere else but on a very small corner of the internet known as crypto TikTok. Because
Well,
the way
well,
people treat me sometimes when I walk in a room is like I'm some guy and I'm just a guy, you know?
maybe in a very small corner.
A very small corner, you know? But it really honored me that people uh, might take what we have to say seriously. And let's use that power for good, okay? Sound good?
For sure. No argument for me.
Yeah.
I
Uh,
I mean, I hope that it makes people think about this differently because I, hate to break it to everyone, but the way that this stuff is being talked about literally everywhere.
I messed up my transition. I wanted to be here immediately, but anyway, sorry.
The way
please
that,
continue.
the way that all this is talked about constantly is like I don't know. It has zero value outside of the echo chamber, and that's really the thing. Like we are literally all just here talking to ourselves.
How dare thee, sir? I throw my gauntlets upon thine face and challenge you to a duel in the court systems of the high ruling king of Louis the Fourth.
That's going on the soundboard.
Yikes!
Yikes. Yikes. The correct response.
Oh my gosh.
I
am so
can't wait to go
excited
to a
for that.
Renaissance fair. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. I'm really getting off topic. Yeah, I'll be quiet. Finish crypto thoughts. I'm just going to keep thinking about the Renaissance fair in the fall.
Are you going to the
No.
Renaissance Fair? No, that sounds like a great topic, honestly, truly.
I go to the Renaissance fair every single year.
Do you really?
Yeah, every single year. It is my ultimate happy place. The Renaissance fair and then like a bar where the floors are sticky. Those are, and like being on skis, That's where I want.
Dude, Will, one of my first jobs ever was the Renaissance Fair. I worked in one of the food buildings, and I sold the apple dumplings, which were just basically like a giant fried apple with
Oh yeah.
a hearty bit of ice cream. And I got to participate in the underground
Cinnamon.
back alley food trade, where we would trade with the turkey leg guys, who would trade with the beer guys, who would trade with,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude, Renaissance fairs are my happiest of places. I have 2 Renaissance fair costumes. One I can't fit in because after my bulk, I now have too much muscle. And my chainmail doesn't fit me anymore. So I can't wear my full-on...
Hold on. I just like to imagine sometimes that, because this is TikTok and people just kind of stroll in, like, so you tune in and you're like, okay, cool, an educational crypto morning show. My chainmail doesn't fit anymore.
Which I feel like is fitting. I feel like that's still on brand.
Yeah,
Still on
absolutely.
brand with that. Yeah, so my
That's a
chainmail
soundboard
doesn't
clip,
fit anymore.
Kevin. My chainmail doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah, hashtag
and-
medieval problems.
And now my girlfriend has like sent me links to be like, hey, this person would edit your chainmail. I'm just like, I love you so much. You know me so well. You know what I'm really concerned about.
Honestly, though.
And then I have like more of like it has like the lacy front, like classic kind of like medieval chill, like my outfit, and then I'll wear like a kilt on top or underneath the kilt. I need to get a new outfit though, because with some of my crypto profits, I want to get like a Roman legionary, which I know isn't medieval, but that'd be dope. And then like some plate mail armor. And I'm going to spend a lot of money on costumes, guys. But yeah, dude, Renaissance fairs are the greatest. I've been to the one in Florida twice. And the first time I went, it was the jankiest thing ever, and they all knew it was garbage. And then the second time, they actually put like a little bit more money into it, and it was great. The one in Massachusetts I went to once, and it was rainy, which sucked, but it was still a great time because I had a great group of people. And then the first one I went to was the one in Maryland, which is like the Renaissance fair. And like the level of craftsmanship that the people bring, that's one of my favorite things about Renaissance fairs. You just see people come out with like dope stuff that they made. It's like if Etsy came to real life and had all the things you really cared about as like a nerd. Like I have some amazing dice that I bought from this guy that made custom dice. You can go get like crazy custom clothes. My brother bought some like, there was a cobbler who was there and he measured his feet and he's like, hey, do you want some like dope ass like boots? And he was like, my brother's like, hell yeah, because we're from Maine. Even though he lives in Florida, he's like, you just have to have some boots, even though he'll never wear them. Got some like there's a cobbler there. You can get custom made armor. You can get like all this other crazy stuff. You have leather workers. You have like your crystal people for who are into those, and then you have like a weird intersection of people who are furries, which doesn't make sense, but they're there also every time, and you're just like, well, this is weird, but whatever. Like everyone's weird here.
Okay, but I want to go back to the food because Alex, I'm curious. When you say a hearty amount, is that like an official Renaissance Fair measurement? Because I sure hope so.
That is how you measure by the amount of hardiness in the portion.
Turkey legs. Okay, so I've been to one Renaissance Fair and I loved it. And the best part for me was the food, probably followed by the entertainment because the entertainment was also top notch.
Good.
But my favorite bit, that was the first time I ever had mead, was at a Renaissance Fair, and it was cold. It was like fall in Michigan. It wasn't like cold, but it was cold. So the mead was hot. The mead was warmed. The weather was cold, and it was just, oh my God! It changed my life. It was fantastic.
I have a buddy. He's the SVP of the East Coast. He's the VP of the East Coast for Kettle One, and he lives in Miami. So this man drinks a lot. This man drinks a lot, and he's a big partier. His favorite alcohol, he will never say it. It's not Kettle One, but it is mead. And he's the type of guy who like doesn't understand Renaissance fairs. So we took him to a Renaissance fair, and he loved it. And so he had a bit of mead, and it became his favorite alcohol ever. So once a year, he goes with either me and my brother or like a different group to the Renaissance fair, and drops $10,000 on mead for the year. He just goes up to the mead seller and he's like, "Hi, how much mead do you have?" And they're like, "Yeah, this much." And he's like, "Well, I can't buy all of it, so people have some left. So like, I'll take like half of what you got." And they're just like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "I don't know, is that about 10 grand? Yeah, sure. Like, can you ship it to me? That'd be great. Thanks." He's
Yeah,
like,
I was gonna say, does he bring a wagon?
he rents a van.
Wild.
Yeah, it's great. It's a dedication to mead that I feel like, Evan, you would appreciate, given your pop.
Oh my gosh. I absolutely would appreciate it. Real quick, just a point of housekeeping. I do see we have a request, but it's somebody that I don't recognize. B-Dip Chillin', thanks for making a comment. And no shade to you. I just don't recognize you. If you're one of our friends from the community, let me know. We tend not to bring up strangers, even though it's Panel Tuesday, just because we've been hosed in the past. We've had some people get up and say some wild things. So spend some time, hang out, get to know us a little bit, and then we'd love to have you up on the show, especially to hear what you're talking about when you got to talk about the Renaissance Fair. William, you were talking about, I'm so sorry, you're saying Maine is where you're going?
Oh,
I got the different states that I was hearing, and I was like, wait.
No, so I've been to the Florida one twice, and that was fun because it's Florida, which meant that like it was super janky, but they knew it was janky, and it was a really great like just down and dirty good time. And then the Massachusetts one was rain. The best one was Maryland with the best crafts. And then I'll do the Massachusetts one again this year because I can just get a group of my friends again who are just all degenerates, and we can all go. And last year, half of us blacked out at the oh God, why am I forgetting the name? The jousting event. Half of us blacked out and we're just screaming obscenities. And then we became the crowd's favorites, and we started leading like high school basketball type chants, but for like our night, and we got the crowd into it, and it was great. And then at one point, we got the entire crowd to go, "Twist his dick, twist his dick," and they're like small children who are like, "Twist his dick." So it was beautiful. It was just a group of just drunk Bostonians just being degenerates outside of a Patriots game, which
medievally raucous.
It's so good. I love Renaissance fairs. I can't wait to go back.
Well, I'm excited for you, man, and now you make me.
I would
really
love
wanna
to go to a Renaissance fair with like our community. That would be so much fun.
Would be incredible.
Get
that
a community
should be one of the things
Renaissance
we do.
fair. Maybe that's what we do, because
Absolutely.
like I think Rick said there's one in Georgia. I thought I saw a comment. If there has to be a Renaissance fair in Georgia, maybe that's the meetup.
That's the move. Could be the move. Wow. The Rise Up Morning Show goes medieval. Yeah, I'm
That
down
would be.
for it.
I mean, that would be fitting for all of us. It would be combining our crypto meetup with the nerd meetup, and then we can all show off our crypto gains via how much money we spent on our outfits. It'd be like the real
or the food,
like a fun
It'd be
flex.
great.
Some people have their Lambos. Meanwhile, we all have like our knight armor and like the best like queen's armor for like Crypto Angel Maya and Lady Money. Yeah, that'd be great.
I think that would be wonderful. Okay, so let us know in the chat if there's a Renaissance fair where you are, and if so, what your favorite thing to do there is. And also, of course, let us know what your crypto questions are. If you have something you're seeing in the crypto space, whether you're one of our friends who comes by regularly and this is your 100th time here, or you're somebody who's like really new and you're like, whoa, what's crypto? What's going on? You guys are talking a lot of jargon. Don't ever hesitate to stop us. No such thing as a stupid question. That's why we're here. And we're here Monday through Thursday. But you don't need to hear the commercial right now. You need to give us your crypto questions. And the first one I saw is something I actually saw a video on this morning when I was looking just for news is we're having kind of an up moment across a couple of spots in the market in terms of interest and attention and dollars. And one of them is in the meme coin casino. Everybody is really into the Pepe artist Matt Fury's creations, and the latest one I'm seeing is Spike. Doom was asking us, are we hip to Spike? There's one that's legit that had a pump recently. There's one that's a scam. There's another one that was a rug. You know, not that there's much of a distinction. I personally am not. I haven't bought any Spike, but my understanding is it's a meme coin based on the first drawing that Matt Fury did, and it's a dinosaur.
Yes.
So, anybody buying Spike? Are you buying it, William? I know
I
you
made a
love
video
dinosaurs.
on it, but I was looking to buy it along with Landwolf. But as the time came for me to look to dollar cost average into them, I had my Jupiter or my Solana, and I was just like, do I want to put it into like risky meme coins, or do I want to put it in something I have a lot of conviction in right now? And I was like, it's more of a time for me to increase my bag in the things I have really big conviction in, which was Jupiter. So I ended up actually taking that Solana that I had set aside for Landwolf and Spike and put it into Jupiter instead. And yeah, there's a Spike that's a scam. There's the Spike that's the community takeover after the rug. The one I was looking at to buy was the one that was the community takeover because it's like the OG one, even though community takeovers are but such a small market cap. There's the opportunity there to make a bunch of money. But I haven't done an update on all of the Spikes to figure out if one had really been pumping more than the others, because it's like the same thing with Landwolf. There's a ton of Landwolves, but ultimately the crypto community decided the one on Solana is the Landwolf just because it is the one that ended up pumping the most and kind of taking the lead from a market cap standpoint.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten on any of the Spikes either. I noted in a video from our friend Beck yesterday all the Trump meme coins that took off. Like, just look at this. And my very favorite one is 1 HP Trump.
1 HP Trump. Oh, that's awesome.
And these, they just rocketed after the incident the other day. And no surprise, and nobody's faster than the meme coin casino. That's for sure. Somebody asked about Base God. Alex, did you buy Base God?
Weren't you guys
No.
talking about Base God to me when I was throwing out meme coins?
When you were like, guys, this is before your Benji days, I think, and you were like,
that's
now,
true.
Now you're
Yeah.
totally a seasoned degenerate on Base, but this was like, what memes on Base should I buy? I remember those days, and I don't think we really had any that we liked, but I remember saying one I liked culturally was Base God because their whole culture, for anybody who doesn't know, memes on the Base network blockchain tend to make jokes about the culture of Base, including Base God, which is about the CEO of Base, Coinbase, Brian Armstrong, who is bald. That's like the whole personality of this token. And so they have all these fun little apps and widgets and things you can do with their token oriented around baldness and the deity of Brian Armstrong. And it's satirical and irreverent and fun, and it's
I love our industry so much. It's so good.
It's honestly delightful. There's even like a bald pact that people are pledging to do a thing, or they will shave their heads bald and become a hairless one or something like that. I don't know. I have no idea if it's a good speculative investment. I have no idea what the market cap is. I don't hold any personally, but in terms of the culture, it's primo.
Yeah, it just seems fun, And I thought about it when you brought it up to me. I was like, huh, maybe I speculate on this one. But that was I remember now. That was the time where I found Beast token and I put a very small amount of money into it just to speculate on Mr. Beast making a video for Coinbase and then using that as the opportunity to sell immediately. But then I found Benji and Mochi, and I was like, dog and cat memes has been a trend that has been working, so I'm just going to buy those. And Mochi is cute, and Beisenji is the dog. That was all the analysis I did on the meme coins. I didn't put them in a token sniffer or anything. I didn't look at the holder. I didn't do anything because for me, there's 0 points because meme coins are gambling. Just put your money in a handful of meme coins, hope for the best, and then invest most of your money in coins that are actually genuinely useful and in trend and good adoption, have communities of people talking about them. So yeah, that was it. And so far, my base NG has been phenomenal. And my Mochi's down like 40%. Sad.
So does that mean that base is full of dog people more so than cat people, do you think?
I would say that it is just that the dog trend is the oldest trend in meme coins, and a lot of people see that as, if I could make my fingers and hands twice as big for this air quote, I would. Safe. It's a safe option because it's a dog on the internet. So yeah, that's just it.
Alex, what's your take, man? I know you're heavily moderating our chat.
Yeah, I just finally, I don't know, this one person shows up and pisses me off every day, so I finally just blocked instead of muting.
Now is not a great time.
Yeah, no, that was a not ideal moment there, Evan.
Oh, I forget. Where's my not ideal? But I think I might. Oh no, here it is.
Not ideal.
Oh, you got a soundboard now? Have you always had a soundboard?
Listen, Will. You don't even know, man.
Will, when we used to run this show on Twitter for the first probably 9 or 10 months that it was a thing, and Evan had almost had me cloned on a soundboard enough to where if I was not there for a day, he could just run it with him in the soundboard.
Oh, that's why. So that's why Evan said that. Oh, that's going to be a sound, which is my chainmail doesn't fit.
Oh, yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it pretty obvious what's happening here?
So it's totally going on. It's totally going on. Some of my favorite Alex sounds, just real quick, since you've never gotten to hear them, is this one.
Little old Brad is a dumbass.
Also.
My dad can beat up your dad.
And
they're just shitty little projects, and that's just bullshit.
But we've also got such iconic Alex phrases like "My dad can beat up your dad" is great, and
I will absolutely die on this hill.
Alex doesn't say that as much as he used to, but let me tell you what, that was like when if I was talking to Alex and needed to verify it was really him or not, and we didn't have NFTs, I would be like Alex, say something that only you would say, and I would expect him to say that.
I do have something I wanted to ask you guys about, though. Sorry, you just reminded me of that it was actually the sound of Alex saying, "I will absolutely die on this hill," reminded me that there's been Sage drama over the past 24 hours. It's like Sage, Sage and Cryptum is something. I just saw it on Twitter and I didn't dive into it, but I thought I figured Alex and Evan, you guys might be aware of it. At least Alex, So like, what happened there? Because I think.
I was not prepared to talk about it.
Twitter or something, or like what happened? Because like Mason made some video, and now people are like, "I respect him; he's an OG in the space," but like I think he's wrong on Sage. And I'm just like, and then I just imagined like Alex in like our corner of the internet, just like fuming for something that happened.
Do you want to tell him, or you want me to, Alex?
I'll give you the rundown for context.
Give him the rundown.
In case anyone's wondering, this is the Sage chart. So as you can see, there's no volume, and it's down. It's down bad. Not going great, but of course, this is what influencer memes look like.
To be fair, that does look like the release of just about every cryptocurrency.
Oh, sure, but this one has zero reason to come back. Here's Alex Costa's.
There is only one way to see this.
Soul Bastard.
Soba.
So, the Sage drama, I guess, is that, of course, that's another just grift. It's just another clever little vehicle for an influencer to make a lot of money off of his audience. And Mason just kind of swung into the picture and made 2 videos and tweeted several times about how it's a scam and there's insider activity and he's just using it to dump on his followers and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, this is great. Thank you, Mason, for putting a little attention on this. He has a giant platform, and I had been texting him the day before, and actually for the last week or so about linking up with a blockchain forensic analyst that he knows, and just kind of putting heads together to put some legitimate pieces together for about how obvious all of these are just grifting scams. And then with zero warning, all of a sudden he just tweets, bought $1,000 of Sage, hope it goes to the moon for the holders. And
yeah, I saw that. I saw that this morning also, and I was like, "Oh, did he just like have a conversation with somebody who was like, hey man, can you just like be cool with that Sage?" I feel like that's what had to have happened.
I have no idea.
So I was on a live with Josh Jake a while ago, and there was a dude who came up, and they were talking about like how he had blown up on Twitter, and I didn't realize till afterwards that I was having a conversation with Sage, because I was like, who's this Sage guy? I've never heard his name before, and I was having a conversation with him. I had no idea until the last live I was with you, Alex, and then like afterwards we got off the live, and I was like, why is this name so familiar? I was like, oh shit, I talked to this dude. I was like, oh shit.
Yep. He's just a grifter. He's been here before. He's been grifting and contributing nothing for years. He went away for a long time. He skipped the entire bear market because there was nothing to talk about. And he had nothing on his resume except for rugging everyone with his shitty NFT project. And now he's back because he can make a meme coin and start grifting all over again. And for some reason, a lot of crypto content creators like have him on their platform because he brings views, and that's what they care about is views. So like, hey, spoiler alert, if you're like trying to make it in crypto content creation and you platform Sage, just know for whatever this is worth that I don't respect you. And that will forever paint a picture of you in my mind. For whatever that's worth. That is how I look at it. It's an egregious abomination. He's just he's a piece of shit. So
when I spoke to him, and I was like, I got off the call when I remember walking away and being like, this was a weird guy for Josh Jake to bring on, because like when some people were asking him questions, all of his answers were like not intelligent, in my personal opinion, or like they weren't like well thought out, or like didn't really provide an answer towards anything. And I remember getting off of that live and not knowing who he was, just being like, oh, maybe he's like personal friends or something with the guy. I was like, I have no fucking clue. I just found it to be odd.
When was that? When did that happen?
That must have been like a month and a half ago.
Yeah, that is odd. That is really odd.
It's not odd. They want you.
It's odd.
Before the release each point, because he was like, yeah, no, like I've been talking about releasing it, and people like, yeah, apparently he pushed it back or something, and I was like, oh fuck, I have no idea I have no idea who this guy is. I was like, oh, good luck with the anyway.
Yeah, there is only one way to say this. I mean, isn't it pretty obvious what's happening here? The goal here is just to get views. It's not necessarily to educate.
Listen, Alex, I know you're heated. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can I point out the nuance though, that like here was my thing about it, because Tech CEO was asking in the comments, is it true that Mason dumps on his followers? I don't know that Mason has dumped on his followers, but what I will say, and I know Mason personally, and I love him. Like, I have a real soft spot in my heart for him. He's a young man. He's not as young as he once was, which doesn't absolve him from accountability. Sage is a young cat too. But I think sometimes he exercises, what did I say to you, Alex, the other day? 3 out of 5 judgment, something like that. But basically, I think it was that same night I got the excited text from Alex about, telling a better story here on TikTok. He was like, Mason is so down. And he texted me Mason's video where Mason was calling out Sage and, this is unacceptable. We can't do this. And then I don't know, it seemed like it was only an hour later that Alex texted me like, "Welp." And it was that Mason had bought this token and turned from being like, this is terrible, this is a grift, to like, here I am, I'm investing and publicly talking about
there's
it.
no
Playing
someone,
both sides.
someone gave him a phone call. That's for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, I would
it's
say for sure. Like I don't know, but like after now, like starting to like build some relationships with people outside of yourselves as well, and like our community. It's like I've gotten DMs and like texts and phone calls and like, oh, you should connect with that guy because like we shouldn't attack each other and stuff. And now I'm just like, it was such like an annoying, just like even the slightest bit of time being set up to have a phone call with another creator, be like, hey guys, we should like, I don't like this, but you said about me. I'm just like on the phone call and I'm like, I'm an American corporate professional. Like, why the fuck am I having this TikTok phone call conversation? And I immediately just like, I ended the call as quickly as I could and just like, I'm not, you guys are not going to see me. I say you guys to everyone here. You're not going to see me post videos about like a content creator here or there. And remember that I did in the past. And now I'm just like, because I do not want to get like DMs and Telegram messages and like having one person be like, hey, like I actually partnered with that guy. So like, I don't want to like hurt my image. So if you can say that, I'm just like, this is such an absolute waste of my time. I hate everything about this so much. And I got shit to do. And I'm not giving time to TikTok drama. And I was just like, oh my God. But I just, this started a tangent for me, but it was all me just being like, oh yeah, somebody reached out to Crypto Mason, somebody with a lot of followers and a lot of influence and someone who you like don't want to piss off, and said, hey man, can you just like apply a Band-Aid to this and like just move on, stop talking about it? And that's probably, I guarantee you that's exactly what happened. I guarantee you.
I don't know, maybe.
I just
Lucas.
I don't get it. The point that I keep making about this every single time is, listen, go gamble on whatever you want. I don't care. I'm not opposed to memes. We talk about memes all the time. The problem is with the influencer stuff specifically is that whenever people make content about their influencer meme, they're always talking to 5 people. And those people get it, and they know how the game works, and they're taking a gamble, and they're doing the thing. And that's all fine. But this is TikTok, and there's no way to really carefully track like the amount of people who kind of drift through and don't have the context or don't know what's going on and just see someone, like they hear lightly about crypto, they hear lots of talk about this meme thing, and they know that all they've heard maybe is that like, oh, people make money with meme coins, and here's like an influencer with their own. So at least there's like a person, because the only thing that people talk about is like, make sure the dev is public. And so then they just like throw some in and they become collateral damage. And we're all collectively just like okay with the large amount of collaterally damaged, not completely informed, or they don't know better people who just kind of stumble into it and then just like lose some money. And like I said, I've been in the Telegram chats for these things. I lurk in them. And it's not people like responsibly talking about it. It's like people who are like scared and sad because they've put too much money into these things, and they're like, well, it has to come back, right? Like, I'm really down, or, I shouldn't have put in X, Y, Z, whatever. And then they just get bullied and harassed. And like, if anyone raises a concern or a question, they just get blocked. And it's just, I don't know. It's just really shitty. Like
the thing that really bothers me about it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I got rugged.
No, you're not contributing anything to the space. You're just trying to make some money for yourself. And like, I get it. And I don't want to like disrespect the drive of someone to earn money for themselves. I get it. But like, is this really the way that you want to do it? By, dumping on people who don't know any better. It's just like, how did I make the money? I took advantage of the fact that there were going to be enough people who don't get how this works that I'm going to win.
I think the thing that bothers me. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, I keep jumping in, Evan, not giving you an opportunity.
No. I mean, it's your show. We're all jumping in. I think the thing that really bothers me is that this is a game that people are willing to play, even though they think that there are consequences that won't ever come. That a lack of regulatory clarity equates to legality, and because regulators haven't come writ large for influencers, and especially influencers on TikTok, that they are okay with either not listening to, not understanding, or maybe we're not speaking clearly enough. Because I try to be pretty clear, and I think I'm pretty good at making a point, a number of different ways so that people at all levels of experience can understand it. But I am baffled at the number of times I have conversations that are very direct and very explicit with people where I am clear with them. This is not an opinion. These are facts. This is legal precedent. And here are several examples. I don't think it is worth learning this stuff as you go from jail, especially when on the other side of your public platform, as you say, there are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who will be influenced by what you say to do, and no amount of "I'm sorry" or "I'll send the money back" will make it right for them, especially if you're not interested in doing that. Like, I have not heard this from Sage personally, but I have heard that he has said he has been advised by his lawyer that there's really nothing they can do, and he better just hope he's not, take into account. I have heard from other people who have done similar things, launch tokens, even when they do it right. But because they talk about it from a public platform, or because they own some of it, or because they have tried to sell it to you, they are concerned or not concerned enough and say, it's okay. I was talking to Rebel Crypto yesterday, and I like that guy. But he was like, well, yeah, man, I bought this much. And I said, my brother in Christ, you bought it, and now you're talking about it on your platform after you launched it. It's your background, your banner. You're sitting here with people on the live showing them how they can buy it, like hyping it up. At that point, it just doesn't matter. He said, well, yeah, I guess I make mistakes and I'll learn from it. It's an experiment. I just, even if those people are, and I don't think all the regulation is helpful. I'm getting flustered. I don't think all the regulation is helpful, but it's clear. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that those people, if they are held accountable to what the standard for regulation is, will feel that way on the other side of it. And even if they do, it's not up to them to make a decision for their followers, which is often what they're doing.
Yeah. Two things. One, first of all, for anyone who didn't see, Lucas is in the chat, Blockchain Boy, and he said that he can try to pull some information for us to show that Sage is putting money into the project. If we can get proof on that, that'd be great to analyze. But also, he also did mention, like, if, assuming...
And that doesn't change that he's breaking the law. Sorry, Will.
Yeah, that's, if you make a coin and then you say the price is going to go up, you are in legal trouble. Like one day. But like if the Trump Vance ticket wins and a bunch of crypto bills and regulations, yada yada yada, things like positive things pass, then there will probably be far fewer attacks against people for the window of that administration being around. My question is, if you do make a security and promote it, do you guys know if there's a window of time where they can then no longer target you? Because I remember there being like a 5-year window where if you make it past 5 years, they can't attack you? Or is it just like they can go back at any point in time? So like 30 years down the line, they could go and like knock on every content creator's door and be like, hey, do you have that money still? And they'll be like, I spent that money years ago. And they're like, well, we're going to take this house. You're just like,
yeah, it depends on what you do specifically. And it depends on filing claims. There's a period of like 2 to 5 years for filing claims in some cases, but that's just for fraud that I know about. And these people, a lot of the time when somebody is launching a creator token, they're potentially running afoul of the SEC and the CFTC. They could potentially be violating laws about licensed financial advice, meaning they are giving unlicensed financial advice. They could be violating laws about market manipulation and fraud, depending on, you know, how they're talking about it and how big their platform is, as well as could get in trouble with the CFTC and the SEC, and they all have different implications, which is why the number one piece of advice, and the first thing I ever asked Sage when I got to talk to him after I heard he was launching a token is, are you talking to a lawyer? You should always talk to a lawyer. And what are you doing to ensure this project is compliant with regulations? And he couldn't answer me. He couldn't answer me. You know, so like, if you want to do this, get a lawyer, because we're fairly hip to this stuff, and I can't give you a straight answer, William. I just know it differs depending on the crime. Do you know, Alex?
Every time the conversation gets purely legal, it inevitably pisses me off, because we can sit here and argue all day long about like how likely it is that someone gets the laws enforced. You know, like Evan said, you have to bring a case within 2 years. This is like, you know, in the U.S. federal court system, you have 2 years to file, and then the crime has to be within the last 5 years. And there's some other stipulations. But like at the end of the day, even if the thing that you're doing is not technically illegal, or like it falls outside of the realm, or you do enough like light inference to imply that the price of the thing is going to go up or whatever, you're still taking advantage of the fact that, you know, you have to be aware that enough people who just don't really know what's going on are going to get hosed by this. And that is the reason anyone's going to make money on it. You're not making money on it because this product is good and it's churning out revenue of people who are benefiting, right? You're just moving money from the misinformed or the underinformed to the insiders. And that is how it works. And I don't give two fucking shits how you justify it to yourself. You're cool with that happening if this is what you're doing. So I have zero sympathy. I don't give any kind of a shit about how you want to justify it by saying, oh, well, it's fine because most people don't get held accountable for these things, or whatever, everyone does it, or whatever, you know, this isn't that big of a deal, there's worse crimes, or whatever. At the end of the day, what you're doing is taking money from people who saw it, who don't know any better, and giving it to the people who do know better and who get lucky. And there is nothing else that you can add to the conversation that will change that fact. You can take all of these extra steps that you want. I guess at least the Sage account is not tweeting anything else bullshit right now because it's fucking suspended. So there's that. But like, make that make sense. Make that okay. Justify it to yourself however you want. Say whatever you want to make yourself sleep at night. At the end of the day, that's what you're doing. You're hosing people who don't know what's going on.
But it's more than that, Alex, because it will be reduced as it's player versus player, man. We're all in this to make money, and it's me versus you, and some people win and some people lose.
Yes.
When you have a public platform, it's totally different, especially if you call yourself an educator and want to be someone worth following.
Yeah, that's why I don't like content creator coins right there, because there is the part of me that's like, it's a free market, do what you want, like everyone. Like there is responsibility that falls to the individual person at the end of the day with any financial decision, and that's where I think most of the weight is. But when you have a community of people who like you've taken time to build trust in, it just doesn't feel right to me to ever make a content creator coin. And I've had people reach out to me. They'd be like, hey, like, or just like comments, right? Or like DMs from like regular people be like, hey, you ever thought about making a coin? Like I'd buy it like Chin coin or like Watson's hair or like something like that. And I'm like, no, I have absolutely zero interest. From like a risk standpoint for myself legally, but also like I'm going to have followers who've been following me for a while who are gonna get burned. Like they will be exit liquidity for other people in my community, and I just feel like that's gonna create a huge, horrible divide that's really also going to hurt my brand that I want to protect of being like an educator. Like I care about my community. I care about everybody. I want everybody to do well and make money, and to use other people as liquidity, and none of ourselves hurting ourselves, right? And like when you have that trust and you make content creator coin, like there's no way you're not going to burn people within your own community, which is why I just like I've had people ask me like, dude, can you talk about Soba? And I'm just like, no, like I don't want to talk about it. And they're like, oh, can you talk about Duke? I'm like, no, I don't even want to talk about it on my lives. Like I don't want to. I just don't. They just don't make me feel good. I just don't like them. You know.
We had the chance to talk to Josh the other day on his live, and And it was wonderful to have an engaging discussion with somebody who has launched a token about the nuances of their launch. And, you know, Josh is obviously somebody who has a lawyer and is doing the best he can as far as he understands the law, not to put his business or his followers at risk. But also, I came away from that conversation. I've been meaning to make a video to summarize it because I don't know, I'm a little worried about who his lawyer is. Because some of the things he has done to talk about it, to tie it to his image as like a meme token that doesn't necessarily need to exist, and the only purpose it fulfills is the ability to speculate. To speculate on what? To speculate on a culture that is tied to his leadership.
Well, it does have the utility of that sentiment tool that he's built.
I don't think you need the token to use the tool. I think they have the same logo, is my understanding. The tool is totally free. He didn't need that token for it at all. And there's no correlation between the value of the tool and the value of the token. There is a strong correlation, though, in the content that he's releasing around, guys, if you believe in me, you've seen what I can do to build a brand, you've seen what I can do to build a community. This is my token. I don't hold the supply. So, you know, like it's like a, you know what I mean? They were very good people. Believe me, you shouldn't do violence to them, but I would be very concerned if I was them. It's like that kind of thing. I don't think that's his intention. I think, though, a lawyer looking at it, certainly the lawyers I know would look at that and be like, hey, man, you shouldn't talk about it that way. You shouldn't talk about it. I agree with what Ace said below. Why don't creators who want to launch tokens just do it anonymously? Why don't they just shadow launch it? My answer is because it's a less certain paycheck. I know people who have done that, and mostly they have watched those attempts go to zero because it's not about, it's not as sure of a thing. If you are a creator like me or like Alex or Will or Sage or whoever, and you try to play the meme game, you're playing on the same footing with everyone else. But wasn't it Soul Bastard Alex who, when he explained in his video, how do you launch a meme coin? Step 1, get followers. They are cashing in their face because it is a more certain paycheck. That's it. You know?
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it's fine. Like, I'm all in support of people starting a business and taking a stab at stuff and like trying to sell a product. So like, you know, if you launch a thing and you're selling like a thing for a reason and people are buying a thing from you, you know, if that business fails for whatever reason, most do, right? Like in excess of 90% do. If you are in Web3 and you're starting some sort of, you know, crypto blockchain Web3 related business and it fails because, you know, it's just a small business and a tech startup that failed, okay, that's one thing. This is not the same. Like, Evan, how long, if I told you go, how long would it take for you to have a meme coin live?
Oh, seconds. I mean, I could probably do it in under a minute on at least 3 different platforms. It might take me longer if I have trouble connecting my wallet, but
this is my problem. Like, if you're launching a startup and you're doing a thing, like you're building a DEX or you're making a new wallet or you're you know, you launch a token for a game that you're building or something like that, right? Like, this is not a thing that you go and you do in 1 minute, but like these are that. And so I'm so confused. And to Lucas's point, apparently I'm tweaking because I'm mad about this and I'm not also yelling about Jason Derulo and Iggy Azalea. Fuck them too. There you go.
Yeah, and also the VC schemes. Like, let's be clear. 99% of cryptocurrency is a venture style investment that is going to zero because they have created a speculative token, which is their only product. The only way you can get access to a lot of these companies is to buy a token, which someday will unlock governance or voting or some kind of thing. Somebody mentioned BlockDAG in the comments, and somebody else articulated something about this VC thing. I don't know the people at BlockDAG personally. I don't know the people at Noble Blocks personally. I don't know the people. I almost don't need to know the people, even at some of your favorite layer ones. The strategy is let us, as founders, raise money for a vision from venture capitalists. Eventually, we will raise money from more venture capitalists, and then eventually we will sell a token to the public market. And every successive stage of selling raises the valuation of your company and necessitates that you do something to create a liquidity event, money generation, for the people who got in earlier. The founders need to get some money from the VCs, who need to get some money from the late stage VCs, who need to get some money from where? The public market or the sale of a product. But most of the time, the product is a token. It might be a miner or something like that. I'm waiting for more proof in the pudding from Aether. Mac loves them, but I don't like that model. I don't like the block DAG model. It in many ways is a lot less fair than what happens in meme coins, and is an unhelpful byproduct of the regulation against ICOs, when anybody anywhere could buy a token. So it happens all across our space for sure.
Evan and I talk. I happen to think that, like raw memes, especially honestly the ones that are like capitalizing on a current event or something topical, and they launch from just some unknown person who just like picks the ticker that is topical and then sends the thing live, that we all know like is going to eventually go to zero. When I took the gamble, however many couple months ago this was now, on Boeing whiff hole, I knew that was like a thing. I literally wasn't going to walk away from the computer, but I also knew that there was no like front-facing CEO that was on Twitter shilling this thing to me. I don't even think they made a social media account because the thing was going to rug so fast. So, memes have been around. It's a little bit tough to have the conversation sometimes because I think things get lost in translation. Like, again, not anti-meme, but the problem here is not that it's a meme. It's not that a meme exists. It's not that someone is like making money on a gambling play. It's that a public figure is just okay with the collateral damage. That's literally it. That's the whole thing. And I know there's more, and I know there's other ways that you can talk about it, and there's other ways you can think about it, but at the end of the day, like I keep saying, that one piece remains a piece of the puzzle. So just do something else, man. Like, do literally anything else except accumulate an audience who enjoys listening to you just so that you can take their money. Just like give them some value and charge them for a Patreon. Sell a premium Discord channel. Make a course and sell the course. Like, do something.
Do something legal and label it clearly.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, if we're starting a company, if we're starting a fintech company in this industry and we're not doing any legal research, you deserve to go to prison just for how fucking careless that is.
What did you say one time about it should terrify you?
Hey guys, I gotta hop off and do work stuff.
We love you.
Good job, Will.
Love you guys too. Bye guys.
Bye job, man. Blockchain Bells, welcome to the show. Thank you for jumping up. Do you have a question, suggestion, good joke, word of wisdom, and how are you today?
Good. I just came from walking. Can you tell?
You look rejuvenated and alive, alert, awake, enthusiastic. I'm so glad for you.
Yes,
I have yet to have a good walk today.
It was amazing walk. It was really, really nice. Here in Texas, it's hot, but it was like a little bit windy and a little bit cooler. I just love the subject that you guys are talking about because that's one of my problems with the space. All this craziness. I mean, like you said, I can create a coin in a minute. I mean, in less than a minute, right? With Pumped Up Fun, with Moonshot, you can use Coin Tool. Oh, and then some of the things are where you can actually use Remix IDE, copy and paste a contract, blah, 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 blah. People don't even know what the heck the contract has if you're new. So again, let's do something legal and ethical instead of taking advantage of people, right?
Well said.
So that's one of the problems that I see in this space, and I hate it. And so I was talking against Sage Universe. I was one of the few people. Everybody was like, "Oh, congratulating the bro." I'm like, you know what? Let's ask the tough questions. We're looking at the contract. Why in the contract there's a bunch of other tokens? How those tokens connected? How one of the tokens doesn't have the the mint,
the mint authority freeze.
The authority, all this stuff. But again, and then why you have so many liquidity pools? There was a lot of weird stuff, and I would just, he tried to answer, but he was like very, very dismissive. We were trying to ask questions. He said that he was going to come back. He never came back. The thing went up. It wasn't a fair launch. There was people buying the coin before, before it was it was supposedly announced in X. Just a lot of weird stuff, and this keeps happening again with different communities creating different tokens, and then either rug pulling them outright or slow rug pulling it by taking the liquidity out.
Yeah. Yeah. All of which is unhelpful and much of which can be obscured, especially for people who really don't know what they're doing. So, do you have suggestions for anybody who's watching? A lot of our audience is people who, we have a really good mix of people who have spent some time here, are familiar with us, are familiar with crypto, but also people who are really curious, who are new, and hearing about this scammy stuff might be kind of scary or push them away. Do you have any recommendations, suggestions for our folks who are listening?
So if you're new, we have, like we were talking last night, Coinbase is your best friend because it's the easiest. It's more like your bank experience. Of course, it's not a bank. It doesn't have the FDIC. I mean, let's be real, because people confuse one thing with another. But if you put, like, say, moonbacks, the concept of moonbacks, if you're going to put $10 and your $10 goes to 25, take back your initial investment and a little bit of the profit, and then let the rest ride. That way you don't actually lose money. Because the problem that I see with a lot of people, new and old, is holding till they blue in the face. And then sometimes those coins go to zero. So if you have the moonback concept, you take your initial investment and some profit, it does not matter whatever else happens with that coin, right? So user-friendly exchange, Coinbase, and take your initial investment and profit. Basically, I have a thing explaining how to create a limit order, and then maybe creating a limit order where you can actually buy the coin as the cheapest. This is the other problem that I see. New people, everybody comes in when the market is high, right? I was one of those in 2021. I came into the space, and then you buy everything high, and what happens?
You sell it low.
Everything goes down.
Or you just hold on to it until it goes down.
It's going down. Remember, guys, if you buy something and it goes up and down, as long as you don't sell, you didn't win or you didn't lose. So some little concepts there that actually will help you guys protect your investments. And again, the trend is memes. We have to admit that the trend, this bull market is memes. So, but again, that's for more experienced people. Stay away from memes if you don't know what you're doing. That's my other thing, right?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of things that folks can learn even before they spend any money. That's what we like to emphasize to people is that before you invest or gamble with your money, it's really important to invest the time to build up your knowledge. And honestly, we say it all the time, but the most important thing you can do is to join a community of people who are thinking about this stuff, who are learning about this stuff, who will help you but won't ask anything from you. Anybody who approaches you, it's been said in the comments a couple of times, with an investment opportunity, they want to help trade for you, they want to know how your investments are going, passive, almost always those things are a scam. So much so that you should just ignore them completely. We had somebody send us a message earlier today. Was this on where I lose where it is now? Somewhere on TikTok, somebody, or maybe Discord, was saying, I got this token. Oh, and scam alerts. We have a whole channel in our Discord about scam alerts because we want people to just be able to post a question or a link to share with people what's going on. It's the best way we can help each other. And so I guess that's the best time for me to say, if you need a community like that, we're here Monday through Thursday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We have opportunities for you to catch up with the show if you can't stream 4 days a week at the newsletter, the YouTube page where all the streams go, where some of our long-form tutorials go, and totally, if you don't have a group of people like that, a place you can ask a question, then join us at the Rise Up Morning Show Discord. It's totally free to join. Almost everything we do is at the riseupmorningshow.com. Williams Renaissance Fair costumes are not there yet, but they will be. The riseupmorningshow.com. You can get all of it and join us there.
Brother, can you tell people about our clone accounts that please?
That's a great PSA. That's right. These are our only accounts,
Please.
Especially if you are new, whether you're in Discord, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Twitter with us, you will likely be approached by somebody who is impersonating us to try and sell you something. This is my only account, Alex's only account, Blockchain Bells has this account. We are never going to reach out to you first. We are never going to sell you anything except maybe if you want to support the show, you can buy a Rise Up Morning Show mug. But I'm never going to reach out to you and say, hey, why haven't you bought your mug yet? Okay? Don't just block those people and report them. And never hesitate to DM one of us. The reason you follow us is so you can send us a DM that says, hey, is this you? Or jump in the Discord so you can post a picture and say, hey, this person messaged me. Is this you? And we can say no. No such thing as a stupid question. We're never going to pick on you for asking. TikTok doesn't care about fake accounts, like Cosmic says, no matter what. No matter what, it's an uphill battle. Thank you for that. Thank you for that PSA. What do you guys think? We've harped on this influencer thing long enough. Alex, I don't know about you, but I had some other things I was hoping to pick your brain about and talk about. And Blockchain Bells, if you have a final thought on this topic, I'd love. Don't let me shift it away before you give your entire contribution. But certainly, if you have other,
let's move away from that, because again, it just gets tired of this of talking about. I have to mention scammers all the time too, and it's just like, man, this is like the same old, like different day, broken record. Right?
Yeah, I understand completely. On that note, speaking of scammers. Here's a guy who absolutely is not a scammer. One of the kindest, coolest, handsomest guys I know. He is Mr. Mac Lorden. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you very much. How you doing, brother?
That's great. That's great, man. I appreciate the Insta invite. Last time, I don't know if you guys were watching.
You like that white glove treatment?
Yeah, bit of a rug pull.
Don't worry, Mac. Evan has been chastised and disciplined after he fumbled the bag last week.
What's that?
I think Will was hosting.
Oh, sorry, I said Evan. I meant Will was chastised.
Listen, man, come on.
Disciplined.
Yeah. I haven't met you yet, but I'm Mac. What's your name? Are you?
So this is my backup account, guys. Blockchain. Yeah. Anyway, my name is Mari, but like usually people know me around here, Crypto Rican Queen.
Okay.
I've been here since 2021. So anybody going to Bitcoin Nashville? Because I'm gonna be there. Anyone?
Will is gonna be there.
Unfortunately.
Man.
We have to skip it.
Meet you in Consensus. I was there, and we were like, didn't cross paths. I mean, I crossed paths with a lot of people.
Yeah, Mac and I feel like we kind of bulldozed Consensus. We didn't end up spending that much time at the conference just because we were at some side events and stuff. But no, I realized after the fact there was about, I don't know, 20 people that I should have been able to line up with that I just wasn't able to.
Yeah, Consensus was great. I don't know. I'm curious to see how Bitcoin Miami does in Bitcoin Nashville. But,
man, I'm excited. This is my first Bitcoin event, because usually I'm not a Bitcoin person.
Are you big into Bitcoin mining or hosting?
I mine Caspa. I don't like mining Bitcoin. I mine Caspa, Litecoin, and Doge. But no, not mining Bitcoin. No.
Yeah, because every year we've sensed that it's kind of a Bitcoin maxi party. Not the after parties. The after parties are great, but the conference itself is like just tons of booths that are talking about mining and or custodying your crypto. And then randomly they'll have an NFT gallery in the middle, which is by Ethereum, obviously.
And last time I did buy a sweet pair of pajama pants from a booth on the main conference floor as well.
Oh, dude. And those hats for like $300 that have little like eagles burned into them and like somebody's little feather or like Sergey's art, like.
Was it? Yep. Was it, wasn't there an NFT, like a floor NFT gallery last time that was kind of.
That's what I'm saying. The NFT gallery but that was all on Ethereum. So actually this year might be a little bit more interesting because there's actually a blockchain ecosystem. And there's a lot of layer twos and scaling solutions. So I don't know, but I still think it's going to be a maxi conference. It'll be the traditionalists who are like, you're clogging up our network versus the new age Bitcoin people who are like, we can do anything on Bitcoin.
Layer twos, layer threes. Yeah, I already saw some of that in Consensus. Bitcoin. I'm like, but I'm not. Again, I'm not a Bitcoin person, although I have some Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and do we know, is Ragsy going? Is she going to make another sculpture?
She'll be there. She always is there. I mean, she was in consensus, and Bitcoin is the biggest, so she should be there. I'll send her a message.
I wish I could go.
Wind.
She is like the wind. She's like the wind.
Tamed or tracked or anything.
Man, we need to do a crypto karaoke. Nobody's done that yet.
I have been saying that for a long time. There was one in at a New York event we went to a couple years ago, and I missed it. I don't remember why. I don't remember why, but I absolutely agree. Crypto karaoke. Also, I think this conference is going to be a bigger party, not a party, a bigger hoopla because Trump is there.
Yeah, I was just.
Did you notice that like 2 weeks ago, RFK was like the headlining speaker on their website, and now he's like number 4 after Trump, Russell Brand, and Kathy Wood. Like not even ahead of Kathy Wood anymore. Poor RFK. Always a bridesmaid kind of thing.
Russell Brand is big into crypto?
I don't know that he's big into crypto, but he's big into taking an opportunity when it knocks him on the head. And there he is next to Donald Trump on the poster. And so good for him.
I will say, I think one of the reasons is that at this point, I'm pretty sure RFK's entire family has endorsed Trump over him.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the poor guy is just.
That's funny.
He's down bad. But
dude, Russell Brand is such an interesting guy. Oh, they got Snowden speaking again too.
Oh yeah, Snowden. That's right. Is the other guy who's the head of RFK on the bill.
I'm excited. I've been wanting to see that guy forever. But they have a Michael Celia there. I mean, like of course, he's a Bitcoin maxi anyway.
Yeah, so apparently, I took a really cool plane trip to Austin for Consensus, and I sat next to somebody who was in the industry, and she was a developer. She worked in security.
Was your flight to Austin nice and enjoyable, Mac?
Yeah, it was great, unlike yours. You can tell that story, but basically, it was like the ninth circle of hell, like the most unimaginable room available, in the middle seat. And both of his knees were knocked together. I would have raged. I would have just said, "Scoot your fucking ass over." But
dude,
I think
my whole left side was damp from that man's collateral sweat for the whole trip.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, dude. I saw that. I was like, "Oh my god, this is."
But no, yours was interesting.
Yeah, mine was good because I sat next to this girl and she was telling me that like Snowden in the security circles is not really that cool at all. Basically, she said that he's like a systems analyst and like a low ranking guy, and he didn't do anything that was super impressive tech wise. She was just making it sound like he had access, and she was thankful for his revelations, but basically just that like a lot of the security people don't think that he was that impressive for what he's done.
He did something huge, I mean, but still.
Yeah, I don't know because I'm not in that industry, but I thought it was interesting.
Of having to leave the country, basically. How does he come here? I don't understand. That's kind of weird.
He's not coming here.
He's got to get a president who allows it.
Yeah, he won't be here. It'll be a virtual presentation like last year.
So he's always virtually. Yeah, because I was like, how does that guy comes here like nothing?
No, we just Skype him from the conference floor.
Hi, Crypto Angel.
Yeah, so this is a really good prompt actually that just came up from Spencer in the chat here, just about the worries of inflation and the potential of, or what would the process be to raise the supply cap of Bitcoin from 21 million to something else. How would that work? Is it theoretically possible? Is that a thing that's hypothetically likely? So, I mean, we can.
Can I start with some historical context that'll
Please,
set you up for it?
That'd be great.
So Bitcoin is the first example of a peer-to-peer payment system using blockchain and tokens. It was created by an anonymous developer, but
What's his name?
His name is Satoshi Nakamoto, and probably not Craig Wright. That's all we know. We don't know who it is. We know that there are a lot of people who are in and around the network when it formed. Yeah, right. He put it on the back of that big truck he's got. And when it was launched, it wasn't a concern for people that the creator of the network was anonymous. The Bitcoin code, the thing that makes Bitcoin work, it's just a computer program. And anybody can get a copy of this computer program on their device in order to either participate in mining Bitcoin, validating the ledger, because Bitcoin is just information, just a list of transactions, or even buying, sending, selling, receiving Bitcoin. All of those, to some degree, require you to run or connect with the Bitcoin code. It does not give you access to go under the hood of the Bitcoin code and change it. In order to do that, you have to build consensus with your community doing what's called a fork. And we have historical precedent for several forks of Bitcoin. Correct me on the timeline, but I believe the first was what has come to be known as Bitcoin Cash, where a hack occurred and a half of the community wanted to reset the ledger to how it was before the hack, and the other half said, no, we can't do that.
That's
and
You're thinking of Ethereum.
No, I'm telling you, it's the same thing. That's the same thing with Bitcoin Cash. Am I wrong? Well then, what's Bitcoin Cash? Because there's also Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision, which is Craig Wright's fork.
Wasn't Litecoin the first Bitcoin fork in October 2011 by Charlie Lee?
I don't know that Bitcoin is truly a fork. If it is, I was unaware of that. I didn't think Litecoin was a fork of Bitcoin.
The first Bitcoin fork was Litecoin.
You might be right on that one. But I think Evan's more talking about like
fork,
the same name, yeah, that were like stealing.
With the same name. Oh, okay.
So the way I understand it is Bitcoin Cash was first, correct? But
was Bitcoin Cash? Was it the block size one?
Guys, I can just read you the chronological list.
No. I don't want to do that. I want to speculate for a little bit first.
Fair enough.
I think
We've earned it.
That it was because if I'm right, then I get
cookies,
these little blue stars here.
Yes.
Which I've been collecting. I got a whole bag of them. I think Craig Wright was behind Bitcoin Cash, and the reasoning behind Bitcoin Cash was that it was meant to be more used as a transactional currency rather than a store of value, which was what the Bitcoin, kind of had become even at that point. Am I right on that?
No. Bitcoin Cash, Craig Wright was not behind Bitcoin Cash. He's behind Satoshi's Vision. That came second. You are somewhat right about the fork. I'm telling you right now, I'm looking it up. I got the timeline too. You think I'm trusting, not verifying here?
I'm gonna not look at the timeline.
But
okay. But I'm checking you now. Bitcoin Cash was first, and Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision was Craig Wright. But Bitcoin Cash, Craig Wright might have participated in the discussion around it, but he wasn't like the leader of that movement. Go ahead. Check me with the timeline.
There were 6 forks before Satoshi's Vision.
6 forks? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The first one that I am aware of as like what I would consider an official fork is the one that happened in 2017 for Bitcoin Cash.
This does include every single one of them. So like including the really light stuff. Is that really loud?
No.
In the background?
No, it's not. The gentle skittering.
No, Christina just decided that what she's going to do right now is mow the front yard before it turns.
No, I can't hear it at all.
Oh, Bitcoin Gold, lol. Forgot about that.
So Bitcoin XT in 2014 was the first major Bitcoin fork, and it was just a block size increase to improve transaction speed, but it faded because there was no support. Bitcoin Classic in 2016, exact same thing. It was trying to replicate XT with a smaller increase. Again, it didn't get enough support to remain any kind of relevant. And then Bitcoin Cash happened. Again, these are all block size forks. Bitcoin
and block
Gold,
space remains a contentious issue today, we should say. Go ahead.
Bitcoin Gold, 2 months later, or 3 months later, in 2017 as well. Bitcoin Diamond, November 2017 was a busy year. My favorite, though, I didn't know this was a thing until right now. December of 2017, Super Bitcoin, which introduced smart contracts and the Lightning Network. And then I have never heard the term super Bitcoin in tandem with the Lightning Network. Then here's another great word. See, this is why I'm bullish on us using the word clump for Shoem, because listen to these words. ZK snarks were introduced in January 2018 with Bitcoin Private. And then you had Satoshi's vision in November of 2018. Which was not necessary. It wasn't forked from Bitcoin directly. It was forked from Bitcoin Cash, with that kind of restore the original vision. And then there's post quantum in 2018, which was just some hokey bullshit anti-quantum computing thing.
Okay, Evan, you're right. I had that mixed up. So everything I was saying, just apply that toward Bitcoin S.
Satoshi's Cash. Yeah, and I want to zoom in again on what you said, blockchain bells, because for people who are confused, Litecoin is like a copy protocol of Bitcoin. They use Bitcoin's code, and sometimes people will call that a fork. We were not being precise with that language. When I say a fork, I just mean that the protocol itself, like the actual blockchain network, is split. The record of the ledger before is the same on both these new chains, but the direction they go is different.
So maybe that's because it's soft fork and it's hard fork. So maybe explain that to the people, because I was kind of like, well, Litecoin is
well, I wouldn't even call Litecoin a soft fork. I would just say it's derived from Bitcoin's code. I have heard people call that a fork. I would say a soft fork or a hard fork is about the history.
So,
I worry that
quick,
might be
though,
getting too into the weeds.
Really,
because
really
your
quick.
initial question is about. Go ahead.
None of this is all very interesting,
Yeah.
but none of it has anything to do with the original question, which was, can they just increase the supply of Bitcoin? And the answer is technically yes, but it would no longer be Bitcoin. There would be a new version. Code would be submitted. A proposal of sorts would be submitted. It would have to be supported, and then something else would come out of it that was Bitcoin, but with a higher supply.
Yeah.
So, you could call it something else,
Bitcoin Hypermax.
Bitcoin high supply.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You call it something else.
Bitcoin only get high on your own supply.
But
Bitcoin water.
In this case, Bitcoin would still exist. The regular, good old-fashioned Bitcoin that we all know and love would continue to do its thing. And then collectively, people could decide to support the new one if they wanted to. But historically, these things do not get any kind of serious support. If you went to Bitcoin Nashville and talked about how you prefer Satoshi's vision, you would probably get excommunicated and hung in the town square. So,
Alex, so if the Bitcoin core admins updated the GitHub and didn't say anything, that's what you're saying.
Sure.
No, Alex, be helpful. That's a legitimate comment from one of our viewers.
Oh.
Is that possible that there's
Sorry,
4 or 5 people who spend a lot of time on GitHub who could just take it over?
No.
Okay. Help me understand why or why not.
Okay, we're starting to venture outside the realm of my personal expertise, and we would need to tag in like an engineer or a developer to talk about the nuance here. So I don't know. I would probably bow out of the conversation at this point, just because I'm not the person who's like the one who's going to educate people about how this works.
So consensus is the short answer, I would say. And I'm with you. I don't participate in the Bitcoin community enough to know specifically what building consensus looks like, but everybody who owns Bitcoin, the more Bitcoin you own or the more you contribute to the network, like as a validator or a miner, and I'm curious to hear what you guys would say if you know more context than I do, you have a bigger say. Somebody like Michael Saylor, who holds 1% of the Bitcoin supply, is going to have a bigger say than someone like me, who, isn't even on the board close to where he lives. Somebody who owns several validators, miners that participate in securing the network is going to have a bigger say than somebody, maybe even than Michael Saylor. I don't know what it looks like, but they have a consensus mechanism that is baked into the code.
It's the miners. So the miners choose what to support. So I'm not sure exactly with the GitHub. I'd have to see why they can't go in and just, change a number in the GitHub. My guess would be that doing so would push. You'd have to push that new code, and all of the miners would be made aware of that, and that would kind of create that new.
Yeah, they would halt their work.
Right. So, but the way a new fork happens is you have to get, whether it's a soft fork or a hard fork. Soft fork basically means you keep the same. It's backwards compatible. Hard fork means hard fork means that it's kind of splitting off, and the old chain is not going to be integrated with the new. I'm not explaining it well, but basically, a hard fork is not backwards compatible, and it's like creating a completely new. How do you explain backwards compatibility?
Backwards compatibility just means you can go back. You can change it back. A hard fork, you burn the boats.
Okay, that's a good way to say it. Yeah. Hard fork is burning the boats. But to do that, you have to, whether it's a soft fork or a hard fork, like Solana just went through this recently, you have to get your new validators, or all of the people who are supporting your network, whether they be miners or validators, to switch over to the new system and adopt that.
Yeah. If somebody snuck it in, there are people who are called maintainers on the Bitcoin network who have access to the code via GitHub and stuff like that. But everybody is watching them. And it's ultimately up to the miners who are confirming transactions and printing the new blocks, as it were. Printing is a clunky word. It's a bad word. But they're validating new blocks and adding them to the chain. They've got to run the code.
Yeah.
And so they would be the first line of defense if somebody who is a maintainer decided to just change the network. And also there would be a lot of you could really throw something off, which is why before they do these changes, they build consensus, they talk about it, they do a lot of tests, they do test blocks, and then they vote on everything if they're going to hard fork, before they burn the boats. Big time.
It's an interesting question, though, because it really just gets down to do they have access and permissions in GitHub to change core code, and the issue is they're not able to. So either they don't have access and it's cut off and it's locked, so they don't have the power to mess with the code, or they do have that power, but the block is when they publish that code and getting the consensus.
So guys, basically for the people that are the key difference basically is that a hard fork creates a permanent split in the blockchain, while a soft fork maintains backward compatibility and doesn't risk a network split. So, because that's into the weeds, right?
Yeah, well said. I welcomed Izzy's Crypto Exploratory to the stage because I know he's a technically minded person, and I'm sure he's just rolling over in the comments section at how we're fumbling to explain this.
No, you all are doing great, and I appreciate the topic. Bells, you're kind of new to me. I'll make sure I follow you. And Mac, I've been watching you for years, as well as Alex and Matt. Just Evan, with a relative newcomer in my opinion, but maybe you've been around longer than I know. But this is great content, and people need to pay attention. And I just wanted to add a little bit of my own experience and knowledge of, for example, Bitcoin Gold. My experience with that was I actually mined that at mainnet. I rented hash power out to this thing called NiceHash, which I'm sure they still exist, or a marketplace for hash power where you can exchange your crypto for hash power in order to mine various cryptos at mainnet or whenever you want to. And so I did that, and I got some firsthand experience with Bitcoin Gold. So their claim to fame was, now you don't have to mine with an ASIC, which is centralized to these corporations and expensive if you want to compete. Now you can do it with ordinary mining hardware that you have in your personal computer. Or in the case of NiceHash, if you want to be a baller, you go and harness hundreds of graphics cards and mine something at mainnet. So I played that whole game, and I was very disappointed with Bitcoin Gold. I would equate that time frame of crypto history to the current meme craze, where everyone was just forking Bitcoin and we have a bigger mempool size, or we have a bigger block DAG, whatever. You can mine with a graphics card and one feature or another, and there are dozens. And it was a big moneymaker for people who already held Bitcoin because it did add a lot of value. It was an important time because it made people realize how deficient Bitcoin was and how the problems that were in Bitcoin. And then the other thing, I'm kind of short on time and I have to run off to work, but Ethereum is another example in recent history where their blockchain forked to get rid of graphics card mining. You can tell I'm oriented towards proof of work and graphics cards mining in my history, but but there was a fork of Ethereum called ETHW. And another fun fact about these forks, especially on smart contract blockchains, is all those NFTs and everything that existed on the chain prior to the fork now exist on another fork. So ETHW, ETHW, I think they pretty much languished and just died a slow, miserable death as far as I know. But all these NFTs prior to that Ethereum fork still exist on a whole other chain. It's kind of interesting, and they kept the feature of graphics, proof of work mining. Yeah. So for people that wanted to check that out, so that's all.
Excellent.
I got. Really.
Thank you for the context, Izzy, and for hopping up to the show. We appreciate you, man.
All right.
Have a great day at work.
Keep rocking, guys. I love you. All right. Bye-bye.
Well, nice to meet you, everybody, and thank you for having me here. I'm gonna go too.
Okay.
Thank you so much for hanging out.
Thank you so much, and I hope I see you guys. We have a show every night, Monday to Saturday, so I hope we see you guys there.
Absolutely. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll catch you soon.
Bye.
So for a quick little piece of just background, when Spencer mentioned a couple terms about like the key holders and kind of one of the things we're talking about, this is not something that I'm hyper aware of. So I pulled what I think turned out to be a pretty decent GPT 4.0 prompt out, and I just put in the answer here into the general chat. And there's a couple links that are pretty good too that have some links out to a couple different GitHub sources and just a few other references. So I'm kind of going through it, but I read through it. It all makes sense.
What are you saying? I've become bored. Sorry. What?
First of all, rude.
I'm sorry, but just fucking get it up.
Someone was asking about these key holders and who can commit changes to the GitHub,
okay,
the core repository for Bitcoin. Yes. I mean, this is horribly boring.
So who has the keys to the kingdom?
I have no fucking clue how any of this works or what any of this stuff was. So that's why I just sat here quietly, but it's all in the general chat now. A pretty decent little summary and synopsis of the thing and how it works.
All right, good. Bullish.
Anyway,
thank you very much,
Mac. It's been a minute since we've had you, just because Will rugged you last week.
Missed you guys.
Man?
How are I'm gonna ask you this as if I don't talk to you all the time. How are things, and what's anything new or exciting have your eye lately, or what are you pulling profits on stuff? That was one of the things I wanted to talk about today, Evan, because obviously we're in the midst of a little bit of a bounce here for whatever reason.
And somebody asked, when will the bull run begin? So keep it at all levels for all our listeners.
Okay. Yeah. So good to be back. If you guys don't know, Alex, Evan, and I go way back. So
way back.
Yeah.
Sperm to worm, womb to tomb, baby.
Yeah, this is our second cycle of friendship.
I was going to say, I should have introduced you as the man that my wife is jealous of. Mac Warden.
Yeah. But not because I, have a debonair way about me. It's just because you spend more time with me than you do with her.
It's just because we've been in an intimate love affair for years, yes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But no, life is good. I was getting hammered by the market just like everyone else was. I actually just tweeted too, because I've seen this a few times. Like there's a project that's just been exploding lately I shouldn't say exploding, I should say imploding. It's all bad. And somebody...
This OPSEC?
Yes.
Okay.
And...
oh, good, because Angel was asking about it.
Yeah, and somebody asked one of the very popular influencers about it, like, hey, are you still in on this? And he's like, nah, bro, I've been out for a while, take profits, And that's just the most annoying fucking thing in the world to hear. It's like, I'm going to shill this until the cows come home, but then secretly take profits and exit the position and not tell anyone about it, It's like, if you're going to shill it 8 times, you should tell everyone an equal amount of times that you're out of the position and that you sold, it's only fair, because there's a mismatch. So, anyways, that's one thing that annoyed me, but yes, the somebody tried to assassinate Trump, which obviously means that the crypto markets are going to pump because that's the world that we live in. Germany sold their Bitcoin. BlackRock is still buying it. And yeah, I was trying to trade a little bit on the way down. And, I've been using leverage, but the thing with leverage is like you can make some good money, but it's all about where you put your entries in and then stop losses too, So I got stopped out of a few, like I had the narrative, right? Like, okay, we're going down. I'm just going to short it, but you have to put a stop loss in just in case you're wrong. So if you lose, 5% and that's on 10x leverage, then, half your position gets cut out. So I was losing some money, but one bid I had in that took was Aether, which is one of my darling picks. And so I'm very much in the green on that one because it just wicked down, it filled the order, and then it's going back up. So yeah, they're doing super well, and Bitcoin's doing really well, and I don't know, life's generally pretty good, I'd say.
Bitcoin's doing well and life's generally pretty good, I'd say. What a great report. Thank you very much. Did you see some of these? We've got some good comments here that people are saying. Do you have any thoughts? People always like to know what our thoughts are about when things are going to happen. Like, when the election happens, is it going to be good for Bitcoin? When is the Bitcoin bottom going to be in? When are altcoins finally going to run? When is the end of the cycle? Take your pick. I know you get these kind of questions too, but which ones interest you and do you think are helpful to talk about?
I think that one thing I've learned in this cycle, and I'd be curious if you guys agree with me, is that because there are so many crypto projects coming on the market, the ones that will really win are the ones that are just obviously dominant and have a very easy to understand model. So I've invested in some coins that I liked a lot, but if you were to ask me to have a deep conversation about them for 30 minutes, I would probably come up short. And I think that is going to be tough to get it back up to where it was before, just because you really have to capture people's attention in order for the coin to go up in value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you said that, because that was what I was going to ask you to say, because I remember you said it a couple of weeks ago too, and I was like, oh, that's such a good point.
Yeah, if they aren't in I would say the most important thing is to be in the right narratives. So narratives can change. They go through cycles. There's layer ones. I don't even know if that's really a narrative anymore, to be honest. But like, Bitcoin is a narrative. So if Bitcoin's pumping, then the Bitcoin adjacent plays might be pumping, like the Bitcoin layer twos or DeFi on Bitcoin, that kind of stuff. There's real world assets, which I think is kind of premature and largely hype focused rather than like real world utility stuff, but I could be wrong on that one. I don't really have much exposure to that, but that's a narrative. Gaming is a narrative. AI is a narrative. DePIN is a narrative. So those last three are my favorites, and that's the ones I'm focusing on the most. Games is pretty easy. I think it's just like, is the game fun and does it have hype? Does it have like a lot of cool stuff coming up? Games is the most like readily accessible to the end user because you don't need complex technology. You just go based on like how much momentum it has and how cool it looks.
Right. Is it fun to play? Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's basically
that's the research.
Yeah. So games definitely has been out of the spotlight for a while, and I think that it will come back in with a vengeance. It's obviously a smarter play to go for gaming ecosystems, infrastructure than individual games. So like, blockchains like Immutable X or Beam, or things that provide services to those kind of games. AI, I think, is fucking monstrous, and I don't know about you guys, because we've been in the AI space since before it was cool. We were doing like Mid-Journey stuff in our Discord. Pretty much hot off the press, right? Like, I don't know when you guys got in, what their Discord was at, but like,
this is one thing that there's a few moments in my life that I truly wish I had an NFT to commemorate, because all I can do is just say, I guess, no, I do have like my Discord profile record of the date that I joined the Midjourney server.
And we've got all the corrupted NFTs, which isn't Midjourney, but that was Stable Diffusion before anyone was doing that.
To that point, that is the way that I always introduce it. That we had this, this art project, or the artwork for a project that was AI generated before that was cool, and it's like, okay, sweet. And I'm like, no, like literally, like the guy who made it built the diffusion engine himself because Midjourney wasn't even launched yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was a small server, and I've been in there ever since. I don't know how many thousands of generations I have, but it's a lot. It's not on a scale of 1 to Neil. I'm about like a 5, maybe. Yeah.
For anybody wondering, Neil is a good friend of ours who absolutely went whole hog,
dude,
totally
he's
bones
so
deep into all aspects of AI prompt work. He's fantastic.
Super good.
Scale of 1 to Neil.
I watched a video on YouTube the other day, and it was really cool. And it was talking about like what life will look like by the year 2500 and onwards, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like you know the movie Lucy with Charlotte. What's her name?
I don't know that movie.
Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
Lucy. So she's like a normal person, and then she gets like, I don't know, she becomes this like drug mule, and then she gets kicked in the stomach, and the drugs are like high human enhancing drugs, and it turns her into a supercomputer.
Max, time out. Evan, Lucy is a movie. Scarlett Johansson is an actress. And she was in the movie.
Hollywood.
Yeah. I know your ears perked up when he said Scarlett Johansson, and I was just like, oh, I haven't seen it.
It takes a few leaps, but the whole thing, like the progression of it, is very interesting, right? And so that's kind of what was happening in this video that I was watching on YouTube. And one thing that really dawned on me, among everything else that we've been seeing, is just like how incredibly important AI is going to be. I think that AI, especially when you consider things like the Human Genome Project, which said that they were going to map the entire human genome in like 20 years, and they ended up doing it in like 2 because the workforce just exponentially, it multiplied, and then the work went up exponentially, so they did it way ahead of schedule. And I think that's what's going to happen with AI and advanced or artificial general intelligence, which is basically just like a computer that can do anything. And I think that that's probably within the next 5 years. So being aware of AI and having as much exposure to it and how it works with GPUs and networks and data and machine learning and all these algorithms and things like that is in everyone's best interest, I'd say.
Yes, but do you actually think I have yet to see a crypto token that talks about AI that is fulfilling in any way the promise that of the value that crypto can add to AI? And I want to be clear for people who ask this. ProVault made a video about this. It was very subtle and very quick. I think AI will be huge. I think crypto will be huge, and I think they can add a lot to each other. But I think it mostly is not about tying a speculative crypto token as a fundraising vehicle to an AI product or platform. I think it's mostly going to be about decentralizing the back end of AI. It's a troubling problem that ChatGPT owns and controls this tool we use every day and harvests all our data around it. It is a troubling problem that you won't be able to tell the difference soon between whether you're talking to a human or an AI on the internet. They're going to look and walk and talk just like me, and you won't know the difference. So you're going to need all of them to be credentialed with tokens, and you're going to need to have a trusted agent with a private key that only responds to you, things that AI can get only from crypto. I think that's how it's going to come together. I think most of it is not going to be speculative. I think people can make money speculating on some of these bunk tokens, but I think most of them are bunk tokens. Do you disagree?
No, I would not disagree. I would say that a lot of the AI coins out there are basically just, like you said, fundraising mechanisms to basically better utilize the data that's out there. If you think of the blockchain, right? Every transaction, except for privacy chains, every transaction ever has been recorded. That is a vast treasure trove of data. There's got to be 100 more ways to use that data and help inform trading decisions, investment decisions, the way the markets are going, like ways that you can get rich with all of that data. But what I will say is that BitTensor Tau, the whole point of that is what you described initially. It's like it's putting AI in the hands of the people rather than open AI, which is not open.
Not at all. But what a great name, right?
Those guys, yeah. So like if you want to have decentralized AI, your best bet is going to be BitTensor.
Crypto. Oh, BitTensor specifically.
Yes. Yeah. Because they're setting it. You still haven't read that article that I told you to read. You got to go to BitTensor.
I skimmed it. I truly did. And it was a long time ago. I skimmed it and I remember liking it, but I haven't interacted with it since.
Yeah. It's just they're laying the groundwork basically.
But tell us more about it in case somebody else is here and they want to hear the article. I'll put the article. I'll do this one. I'm going to put the article in the newsletter this week because I've had several people ask me about Tau, and it seems to me like maybe it could be a D-pin Fugazi, but
no, it's not
I want to know what you think.
If you go to bittensor.com and then under the Explore tab, click Paradigm. That is the moment I became a believer, because it just explains the paradigm, the background for it. You know, it's like Bitcoin wanted to create this decentralized system of money where people can contribute to it, right? That's the same thing with AI. But the way it's done, it's basically created an incentive mechanism for anyone else who wants to contribute to this advanced general intelligence. So if I want to do an AI that's focusing on solving complex math problems, then I would do that, and I could be on the BitTensor network as a subnet and get paid in Tau. If I want to do health information, if I want to do market data, then these are all different subnets that can operate and contribute to this whole ecosystem of AI. And the idea is that eventually all of this will coalesce and be in the same system such that it is owned by people rather than a singular centralized entity.
I mean, that makes sense. It definitely makes sense, and I agree with the people need to own it.
Yeah.
What assurances do they give you in terms of is their token the only mechanism by which you own, and how is it distributed, and how can people who are late to the party get a fair slice of the pie? One of the problems with Bitcoin is that Michael Saylor owns so much of it, and my mom will maybe never own any.
Yeah.
And then by the time it really matters, it's going to be a problem. So how do they protect against that problem?
I mean, we discuss this in our own ecosystems too. It's like you can never really protect against whales. I mean, sure, you can have that as part of the contract. It's in like Pump.Fun, I think, or one of those. Maybe it's not Pump.Fun, but it does monitor if it's like anti-whale or something like that. So I'm not sure if you can actually limit people from buying. But then who's to say you don't just spin up a new wallet and buy more from the other one,
But why? But I think you can. And the answer is, why is the only means to distribute this thing a fungible token that the only way to access is by earning, as a miner might, or by buying from somebody who already has it? Like, why is that in a world where tokens are totally, I can spin up a token in a second. And in a world where they could be fungible, non-fungible, where they can be hyperinflationary or deflation, we can literally program them to do anything.
Yeah.
Why is distribution and equitable representation such a problem?
Well, for BitTensor, it's all just mined publicly. I think maybe 90% of it, and then 10% might have gone to something else, but it's all like ecosystems. So you get it by mining or staking, basically.
Yeah, that makes me think it's a fundraising thing. I am not bullish on projects with unimaginative tokenomics. If somebody is a crypto native, then at least they can have cool tokens. I'm bullish on
Bitcoin though, but it's the most true method there is. If you want it, you got to mine it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just don't think it's. I think it's innovative. Certainly, I can't shake a stick at that. Bitcoin did it. It was great. But I think too many people are doing it now in ways that are just scalomorphic. I think they're unimaginative. I think most people using crypto in 5 years, you want to talk about 2,500. In 5 years, I would give it 5 to 10 years. I think most people using crypto are going to be using multiple tokens, for a particular project or purpose. And I also think most of the tokens that we have will have nothing to do with money. And I don't know. It's not helpful to look that far in the future. But that's why I'm not bullish on BitTensor. It's like a reason.
Yeah,
I'll read the paper.
I'm not like a BitTensor whale. I got in way late to the party, and I definitely could have a lot more Tau than I do, but I've just I got in late. But what I want to say though is that the reason it needs to be a fungible token, the reason it needs to have value, is because it costs a lot of money to have and run these GPUs, which is what AI runs off of. So there needs to be a financial incentive, otherwise people wouldn't do it. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? It's just like Bitcoin.
Most things in your life, they don't have a financial incentive, and most things in your life, in fact, cost you money, but they add value to you in other ways.
But that's not, I mean, try saying that to any company. Like, okay, guys, we're not going to pay you in money. We're going to pay you in experiences.
No. I get it. It's a different kind of economic exchange. I just am calling you into understanding that most of the value in the world is not monetary, and it's certainly not fungible.
But I'm just saying, if there is going to be an incentive mechanism for people to use things that cost them money to create machine learning algorithms and to train on data that costs money to assemble and to keep running, just like it costs money to run the computers that power Bitcoin. So the only way to have an economic system that works is to have people get rewarded for spending that investment.
What do you think about Sam Altman's idea about basic minimum? What is it? Do you know? People talk about universal basic income, and Sam Altman's idea is about universal basic compute. I don't know if he originated the idea, but have you heard about it?
No.
It's basically the sense that in the future, income is not going to be as important because AI is going to do most of the jobs, and every human is going to have an efficient supply of food, water, shelter.
Yeah.
But what they will not have is an infinite supply of computing power. GPUs are going to become the scarcest resource, and that it will become necessary, he argues, for a just world, for there to be an allocation of compute that you can either use for yourself, because we're going to have more people than GPUs, or that you can sell to other people. And I don't know in this post-scarcity world why you would need to sell it, but it will become, he argues, potentially like the next step of what we might think of as money or power. I think the argument is sound because GPUs are, already people need them. We're like stretched, for GPUs. People can't get them. They're expensive.
True, I don't, yeah. And I'm not going to pretend to be smarter than Sam Altman, but the thing I wonder about is, would that not be ameliorated over time? Because
I wonder.
As NVIDIA and Qualcomm and these other big semiconductor and chip manufacturers continue, could they not just make more chips and that problem will be, less and less over time?
I don't know. I don't know either. That's why I brought it up.
You know what
I
else?
will say, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was thinking too that in America we have a big gun problem. A lot of people get shot. I think that there's going to be a big robot problem in the future. I think guns are going to be less and less of an issue, and it's more about robots. Because if you can have uncensored AI, right? Like there are bots and things that you can use to train AI. You can train it yourself. That becomes put into the hands of the people, right? If it's really decentralized, and that means there's no one central governing authority, right? Could you not make your AI watch a bunch of Pulp Fiction and Braveheart and then apply that to your robot and just say, hey, go kill that fucking guy. I hate him. My neighbor, he's killing me. Or he's driving me crazy. Just murder him and kill his little dog too.
Yeah, it's wild.
Right?
It's absolutely wild, and we're not going to be there. I hope for at least another 5 or 6 years, but I hope I'm still able-bodied.
At least one more bull run.
At least one more bull cycle. And did you see Homer's comment about people just slinging compute under the freeway? And I wanted to say before I got to call Alex out because he's been quiet and lurking while we just banter back and forth over here. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to exclude you, Alex, and I don't mean to pick on Mac. I actually would say more than anybody else that I know and trust in crypto, if I had to ask one person, okay, given the fact that this may all go to zero or these may be Ponzi schemes, Mac, you're probably better than anybody else I know personally at putting that moral, ethical, what will the future be? I want to be right and predict it aside, and just saying right now, where's the attention going? And who are the people making money? And how can I do that also? I think you just have a gift for that, and I wanted to give you a rose about it.
Wow.
And I want to know why the hell Alex is being so quiet over there.
I don't know if that was a compliment or
I don't know either.
that was
Really? I meant it as a super compliment. Like you
have such a good propensity to just take all ethics and morals out of it and just be a complete dirtbag in the moment.
That's what I took out of it.
That's no. I mean, for a man who also has ethics
What
and
does your
morals.
shirt say, by the way? Friendly compassion.
Yeah, right.
Except for
L's
Mac
in the
McCain.
chat. Yeah, sorry about that. Hang
No,
on.
I'm okay. I don't want to be described as like a nice guy as one of my top like descriptors. You know, I'd rather be like 10 things before.
No, but you're rational as well in
Okay.
a way that allows you to see past what may be your own personal morals, not to compromise them, but to understand what markets are doing in AI, the sector of crypto that we follow. You know, I don't know. For example, Aether. I know you're real passionate about them. I imagine you've made some good money because of the way you've positioned yourself to capitalize on the opportunity. I have been, barricaded by that because I don't believe in their business model. I don't think it's going to work long term. I think it probably will make a lot of people money in the short term. I hope you make a ton of money from it. You're good at that. You're good at that, man.
I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate it. I think it's super interesting, that we've all gotten to really understand each other's worldviews. And I think that we could probably say with a certain degree of accuracy what they are for each other. You know what I mean? Like, I could pretty well describe Evan's worldview, and I could pretty well describe Alex's worldview, and I think you guys could do it for everyone else too, which is kind of an interesting
party trick.
Like, okay, should I do it? Should
I can tell you want to. Go for it. And then we got to pick on Alex more. We got to get Alex to say something.
Yeah, Alex. Hey, pay attention. Do your fucking job.
Are you working over there? You working a real job or something?
No. Couple things. One, I've been silent because now my neighbor has joined the party and just brought his weed whacker over, and so they're all in my front yard right now. Just my neighbor is just arbitrary. I mean, I am very grateful because it needed to be done, and I currently do not own a weed whacker. But this man is just 5 feet outside my window weed whacking, and I'm like, I can't even hear myself talk right now, so I just had it on mute for a minute. 2, I was admittedly distracted because Uniswap just slid into my DMs, and so I had a small moment about that. And then the other person who's currently in my DMs that I was replying to is the head of product design at OpenSea. So I was talking to that person for a quick smidge because these are all people I'm trying to get to come on the show. And then 2, I just was listening to Mac talk about things that I don't have any additional information to. But I'm back. We're good. They're all handled. And now he's weed whacking farther down my driveway. So
I just sent you a DM, Alex.
Oh, and now also Mac is in my DMs. So
I just said, hey, pay attention to the show.
I was also doing comments and talking I'm in the general chat of the Discord with the people who are also in the show audience, and I'm doing a lot of things. I'm Howard Moon, man about town. If you understand that reference, we are dear and darling friends.
Unfortunately, I missed that one. But
Yeah,
Alex,
also me.
Are you able to?
Evan, I know that.
Yeah, Evan's not. Are you able to describe Evan's kind of overarching worldview? Okay, go ahead. The vision of the future, I guess.
Go ahead, roast me.
Yeah. Is that too loud? Because he's outside my window again.
No, dude.
No, it's really not that loud. You have a great condenser on your microphone.
It's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
we only hear you. It's great.
Okay.
We're wondering if you're okay, if it's not imagined. Is the call coming from inside the house? Go ahead.
15 words or less to describe Evan's worldview. Evan is, I would say, hyper. I will skin them alive.
What does he believe?
In altruism, the inherent belief that everyone is good, that money is a construct that we don't need.
I was going to say that one.
And he operates from a fierce and inner burning desire to abolish capitalism and the money system.
I would add with a penchant for fine arts and regenerative living. I'd say
I don't know who that guy is, but he sounds pretty sexy. I'd hang out with that guy. Okay, are we doing Alex next? Or are we doing you next?
Why don't you do Alex, Evan?
I'm gonna do you both at the same time, and I'm gonna make it real concise. I feel like when you come to our show, what I love about it is you can hear about crypto from different perspectives. I feel like I am the guy who waxes philosophical about the future and the values that it will bring to everyday people. Alex is the technician who gives you nuts and bolts about how to do it in a way anyone can understand and be engaged with, but has no tolerance for bullshit, and will absolutely die on that hill, guided by a strong heart and moral compass. And also, I will say this about Alex. Alex, I think, he's one of the guys I would trust with my seed phrase because he takes responsibility so seriously, because I think he has been let down enough by other people, and also is afraid that he will let someone down when it really I think Alex has experienced what it's like to have consequences in life. I know Alex has seen some shit. And because he understands how serious the stakes can be, he is committed not to be a person who will ever let you down. And I think that is wonderful, but I also think it is expensive for him. But it's one of the reasons I would trust Alex. I would trust Alex if I was hanging out of the helicopter, and I wouldn't want anyone else. And Mac, you already heard what I said about you. Mac is a guy with a vision, energy, and enthusiasm for life, for people, and for things where it reminds me simultaneously of like an eager dog and also like a child in the body of a man, but with the like tempered reason of like somebody who is trained like an emperor. Like Mac, you strike me as somebody who would have really enjoyed debating with an old philosopher and then going to sword practice and then striking down a merchant who cheated a peasant and then like reflecting on a sunset as you know, like bit a loaf of bread after wrestling with a man. I don't know, like you would have done very well in Rome.
Sounds like a great goddamn day. Yeah,
I think you would be living your best life then. Like maybe a little grog, you know, Amber's right there wearing a, you know, toga and it's draped about her, and you know, caress her in the moonlight, and I don't know.
Yeah,
That way you got derailed really quick, but that's how I see you both.
Well said. Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think that's accurate. And one thing that I've kind of always said is that like we three founders are kind of like a spectrum, and Evan and I are at different ends, and Alex is kind of in the middle, because he can kind of see a little bit. He's a little bit more kind-hearted than I am, and a little bit more analytical than you are, Evan. So,
I feel like you guys clash more. I feel like I don't really. I kind of weave. Sometimes one of my favorite things when we would be like really working on something is to come into the chat and and mom and dad would just be fighting, and they weren't fighting, but Alex would be like, I literally don't know how to explain this to you any other way. I am not willing to do this thing because it is, you know, illegal or immoral or, you know, whatever. And Mac would be like, but just hear me out. Let's entertain and discuss and rationalize and extract the possibilities.
But see, the only reason, no, it's a fair point. Mac and I argue a lot, but I don't know. It's like an old school kind of arguing where you can like isolate the thing that we're discussing right now. And this is also a real experience that I've had where Mac and I are currently talking to each other in like 4 active channels, 3 different group chats, and then our own DM thread. And then I'm also texting him, and every single one of them is a different conversation. So like we're fighting in a group chat about something, and then I'm DMing him about some stuff that me and him just like need to do, and then texting him about something completely not work related. And then in a different group chat with a different work thing that's just having like a regular work conversation about that client or whatever the hell. And every single one stays straight. And
Yeah, I think that's a you thing, Alex, because we're starting to get to that level too.
yes, it is a me thing. I maintain channels of communication with everyone in very different ways. And there's things that get Discord DM, there's things that get texted, there's things that go in the group chat.
I think it's always just very like logic based, you know. And when by the way, if you guys are out there watching, I highly suggest going to a website called 16 Personalities and doing your little personality quiz.
Oh yeah, those are fun.
Finding out like what you are, what your classification is, because I did that and it revealed a lot of things about me that even I didn't know. It's better than reading a horoscope. It was incredible. But one of the things that it said that I was so like, oh, no wonder, is that I really appreciate when I'm trying to not argue, but like prove somebody wrong or explain that my way is better. If somebody stands up to me and presents data and we can go back and forth, and if they present better data than I had in my head, that's a big like respect thing for me. I really enjoy that. I'm like, oh, okay, we'll do it that way. You know what I mean?
You know that thing that I always say about, you know, like one of the keys to winning at crypto is being able to change your mind when presented with new information. Like it sounds really easy. It's really not. And Mac is one of a small handful of people that I know where if like he'll argue it and he will defend himself, but the second like enough information has been presented, he will always be like, okay, you're right. And then
Yeah, and it's never like a false like I'm going to defend this thing because I have a sense of pride. You guys everyone's always willing to say, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And that's what I meant when I was saying about the ethics and morals. You change your mind.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're not going anywhere. I hope crypto is something that is still, I don't know, to kind of bring it back to crypto, I'd be curious to hear what you guys think, but I've been kind of feeling that like crypto as a whole might kind of reflect the hype of the NFT, bull run that we saw last bull market, in the sense that like its heyday has kind of already, like the wild west where shit just goes up, you know, thousands of percents in a couple months or even days. Those days are kind of dying down, and what's left will be a whole smattering of options, but the big ones will be legitimate and, you know, less volatile, and crypto will still be a thing, but it's not going to be as big of a thing, you know, kind of in terms of like the money making possibility.
Probably more normalized too.
Yeah. I mean, with any asset, like when you introduce it in the market, there's less people involved, there's less liquidity, so it's going to be super volatile, right? But I don't know. I've just been feeling that like each bull run, there's diminishing returns, which the data back up as well. But I wonder, you know, what it's going to look like in the future now that we have ETFs for the two biggest ones and probably more to come. Do you think there's going to be another bull run? And if it is, what does that mean? You know,
I do have a working theory. This is pure speculation, so I'm curious to hear if you guys have any guesses as well. I think it's a good. One of the most common questions I would say, Evan, that we get is like when alt season. And my working theory, and again, I want to be abundantly clear, this is a straight guess. I do think there will continue to be more. I don't even necessarily think that the like percentage possibility of, you know, like profit gained in a project is necessarily going to go down. But like Mac was saying, in 2021, when alts ran. They all ran. Everything on the chart ran. Completely indiscriminate of how bullshit they were compared to how good something else was. And I'm wondering if we will continue to see, you know, stuff run and pump, but just like Mac was also saying about narratives, just like continually more and more and more hyper focused. So like a small thing is going to like legitimately decouple from the rest of the market, where Bitcoin does its thing. Bitcoin kind of drives the overall sentiment, like you said, you know, maybe with smaller and smaller and smaller ripple effects. But then on the side, memes are just going to rocket for no reason, completely regardless of what Bitcoin is dumping. Memes are still up, you know, 100,000%. Or, you know, the AI sector is going to get some new advancement and some AI stuff is going to run. Larry Fink's going to come out and do some more RWA shit, and Ondo and those other RWA things are just going to run, and everything else can still be in the gutter. And I just wonder if we're going to like finally start to kind of partition it out a little bit, like in the stock market world, where like, hey, tech is doing great. Hey, agriculture is doing great. Hey, cannabis is doing great. Whatever it is. That's kind of where my mind is starting to head lately, I guess.
Honestly, me too. I'm feeling like different niche, because like if a great game comes out that is, you know, the GTA 6 of experience, but it's on chain and people can speculate on it, that's going to be huge. It'll probably drag a lot of attention to the gaming sector. It'll probably cause a couple of game memes. It's not going to make AI cryptos pump necessarily. And I think there
you think that in that example, that game or whatever the exciting thing is, do you think that will have a sustainable kind of rise? And if so, will that have to coincide with the Bitcoin halving as it has done?
No. I'm saying I think that is a new type of crypto activity that we will see now that apps are starting to come. For a while, it's just been infrastructure, you know, layer ones, layer twos, and stuff, and the narratives have been about like, oh, we're gonna get apps, we're gonna get games, we're gonna get decentralized social, we're gonna get this, and now we're starting to get this. I think that will create a new kind of activity personally that makes the narratives of different alt sectors a little different. I also think there probably will be something like that there will be some macro event, whether it's, you know, the Bitcoin dominance distance, whether it's the, I don't know, the election, whatever, that will cause money to move in the market towards altcoins generally. I don't know what that would be though.
I think that's a very good question, Mac.
It is a good question.
I would guess that the farther we get towards this, if the scenario I just laid out turns out to be any kind of accurate, that Bitcoin could still push stuff if Bitcoin had a really good day or a really bad day, but that the other things would just move regardless if they had a specific moment, and they would not drive the market. Like Evan said, if gaming kills it and some really good stuff comes out, maybe, you know, I think the stuff that would need to happen, that's one thing I will push back against. There's a ton of phenomenal games that are very good, that are very playable, that are all Web3 based, that all have tokens, that are out there and should, by any stretch, have their day in the sun. Some of the stuff that's missing, though, are like huge mainstream streamers getting on board and like streaming these things to their gigantic audiences. You know, like in the days when, you know, Jinxie, Sketch, and Kai and all these people start to stream a game like that, then it will get some attention. Because right now, the only thing that they all know is that there was that one Web3 game, but who was in charge of it? Dr. Disrespect, the pedophile? Crap. Okay, great. So that's the thing. Pop culture
Pedophile
needs to
in
catch
waiting.
up. Sorry?
Pedophile in waiting.
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So I guess that's kind of where I'm at there. Like, Bitcoin could still drive it. If Bitcoin ripped by 20%, it could lift all the stuff. If Bitcoin absolutely dumps, it could drag down a bunch of the stuff. But if Bitcoin is just crabbing and flat and doing whatever, and a humongous streamer decides to pick up Illuvium, and they're like, hey, this is actually kind of sweet, that token's gonna absolutely moonshot, right?
I would say that in terms of like the relationship, because really what we're talking about is if it can be decoupled from everything else, really. So I think that right now the hierarchy is Jerome Powell, and then stock market, and then Bitcoin, and then the rest of the altcoins. So in other words,
I would probably agree with that. Yeah.
Jerome Powell creates quantitative easing or tightening. Either way, it's going to affect the markets. And I don't believe that if there's a significant crash or downtrend in the stock market, that cryptos will do well. And I don't think that there will be any sort of sustained, bull run for any project or anything like that. So while I think the next cycle will have diminishing returns, you can still get rich off of picking the right ones. It'll just be really, really hard to do that. And I don't know if in the next cycle, Bitcoin will be decoupled from the stock market, especially now that it's a part of the stock market, So it's like, what will drive the cycles then? I don't know, maybe like Evan was talking about, there's some other event that matters more than the halving. Because the halving is just a talking point. It doesn't really do much. I mean, I guess the miners' revenue goes down, so that kind of creates some buying and selling action. But
I also think there are going to be different opportunities like infrastructure, miners, the gap between people who have and don't have the technical savvy and the equipment like the GPUs to do that.
Yeah.
That's going to be an area of opportunity and disparity. And also, I think bots are going to be big. Like you were talking about AI robots, but I mean, have you played with Photon Bot or Banana Bot or Bonk Bot, some of these like trading tools? I think there is a proliferation of tools that are easy to use inside Telegram that until this year really were like, if you were a dev, you coded it yourself or you paid someone to do it for you. But now I can get on Telegram as a total smooth brain and use this stuff.
Yeah.
I think that stuff is going to be better. And the people, that's going to be a new meta. People who get rich in crypto are going to be really, truly using trading bots. And people who lose money in crypto are going to be investing in trading bot scams. You know, like infrastructure is going to make a big difference. That'll be a new meta, I think.
I wonder if we might switch to a new meta where the principles of cryptocurrency and blockchain are applied to more real world business use cases. So like the other day I went down this rabbit hole of what it would take to create a peer-to-peer energy trading market. Because if I have solar panels and I can extract free energy from the sun, then I could get an abundance of that and then sell that to people. And that actually exists in a few different cities around the world, which is really cool.
I think there might even be a crypto for that.
Yeah. There's a couple that are trying it, but the biggest problem in America is the infrastructure and the bureaucracy. Each like county has their own restrictions and requirements and stuff.
Got
like
it.
that.
Got it.
Overcome all that. But in theory, it should work. You know what I mean? Like you can buy money from your peer instead of the grid because it costs them less to make it, and I can get a discount. You know what I mean? But yeah, there's so many things in crypto that are just like super crypto niche focused, and then they get these stupid valuations from VCs, and I think a lot of that needs to just flush out and die.
Yeah, but you understand why, right? Like, if I'm the first investor in your company, it's in my interest to take 5% for $1 million, and then do everything I can to talk about how your solution is absolutely worth $20 million, and wouldn't you like to invest? And let's do this is really $100 million. It's $1 billion company. And then, quietly sell my share for 10x.
Starknet is the most grave example of that, because I think they've got like 115 weekly users or something like that. It's paltry. And they're at like a $8 billion fully diluted valuation.
That is so wild.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but I agree with you though. I think there could be like tokens and there will be riches and niches, like a solar energy token that people who use solar energy will then there will be a market for that, like a specific marketplace for solar energy tokens. And there will probably be one for like, I don't know, what's another, training my AI robot. I'm not sure.
Science. Yeah. Like,
you name it.
We kind of rail against the companies that have a business and then decide to come into crypto because they just want liquidity. But I think that might become more commonplace. The interesting thing is that like, a lot of businesses like VXV, and that's one of them. A lot of decentralized science. The interesting thing is that like if you open yourself up to crypto or even video games, right? If you open yourself up to having a token, we know this from experience. You become that token. You become that. It's like the stock market on steroids. Because those people who are your holders are hungry for you to do everything you can to inflate the value and price of that crypto. But I don't know in the future if that's going to continue. It might just be that companies are successful and then they're like, you know what? We're going to have a small part of our portion of our business be a crypto. And we're not going to focus too much on it, but we're trying to get some, few $1 million out of it. I don't know.
What seems inevitable to me is that the infrastructure and the ease of using tokens is going to get better. And I could imagine a world where tokens will be everywhere. Everyone will know how to use them and do them. And I think I could see a world where they become the new subscription model. Like instead of having a good, better, best package for my lawn care service, I just have a token. I have one token, Evan's Lawn Care Service. And my customers can buy that token. And if you hold one of them, then you get the base price plus like a penny discount. If you hold 1 million of my tokens, I have a relationship with you on the blockchain. I know who you are. I can give you special kinds of attention and service and access. And it's a two-way street like we've talked about for Shown. You are incentivized to advocate for my business as a sort of shareholder customer. And I am incentivized to reward you, find others like you. And tokens give a velocity that money can't to the kind of value that is exchanged between people who have a relationship. So I think as the infrastructure improves and everyday people can start using them that way, the reason it's not that way right now is because my lawn care company doesn't know how to launch a token. And even if they did, there's not a good interface to connect them with their most valuable customers or poach their competitors' most valuable customers by airdropping them a discount token or whatever. But when that infrastructure is there, it's going to be easier and quicker for people to create that kind of
But I don't know if that's necessary though, because if it's just a relationship between the customer and the company, then you don't really need a token, because the token is kind of the peer-to-peer aspect.
No, but a token is a better way to do that. I mean, like, how would you do that right now? Because I think that is the primitive of a business customer.
NFT,
I'm not necessarily saying an NFT. It could be a liquid token. It could be, what was I saying the other day? A hyper deflationary token where you bought my services this month, you get 1 million of my tokens, but next month they're not worth anything. And if you use them before they expire, you'll get a discount. I don't know. I think most of it, what it will look like, the nuts and bolts, hasn't been invented yet. But somebody is going to make the gourmet dining version of it. And somebody's going to make the membership drive-through version of it. And somebody's going to make the fast food version of it. And somebody's going to make the, ship it to you at home and do it version. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It will be innovated, but we need the infrastructure first. I absolutely think that's going to happen, though. Put me on the board for that prediction.
I don't even know if infrastructure is the thing that's missing. I think better interface and a better front end is the part that's lacking. That's what almost every major advancement that I'm currently watching roll out and be received well is. Like the Uniswap extension, by the way. I don't know if you've messed with that at all yet, but they rolled out their browser extension, which is interesting for a couple reasons, because they
mess with it right now.
They threw it into a sidebar display instead of the little kind of general pop down, like a standard wallet extension might be, whether it's Backpack, MetaMask, Phantom, something like that. So that was interesting. And again, nothing about Uniswap's infrastructure necessarily changed, but they just really cleaned it up. And it's, they gave you the little, the username, the handle, the .uni address. There's a little bit nicer of a display, similar to how Coinbase did with the wallet, with the smart wallet. You can turn it into simple mode, which basically makes it look almost identical to Cash App, which was a brilliant move. It doesn't even display the things in terms of currency. It just immediately translates it into held dollar value. And then you would send dollar value to someone. And there's 2 things you can click on. That was neat. So, and again, as Solana blinks, that's another major recent advancement that's purely front end. That's the piece that's missing. We've got so much infrastructure. We've been being shilled on infrastructure for years.
That's fair. But I think we need easier. What's the middle step? Apps then would be the next part.
Interestingly,
Hey, real quick, guys, I got to sign off. I got a call, but it was so good seeing you both. And
good to see you, man.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week. I hope.
Okay. Yeah, definitely.
Evan, I actually have to jump in just a few minutes as well. I have a 10:30 with someone I'm very excited to talk to.
Yeah, geez, apparently everybody's in Alex's DMs. Listen, guys, I'm here too.
Dude, I'm telling you, I hit the networking circuit differently than you do.
Yeah, and you hit that circuit, man. I'm excited for it. Oh, okay, so give us this, wrap this thought up, and then I will give you the final thought. And I'm glad to just catch the loose ends here with people, and we'll pack our pony show up on the road.
Here's just a tiny little piece. I wouldn't even call this alpha. It's just interesting, and I think that the vast majority of people don't know that this is a real thing. Unless there's some software engineers in the chat, you guys probably know what I'm talking about.
Let me see it.
So for context, my father is a software engineer, and if you ask him whether or not he's front end, back end, or full stack, he would tell you none of those. That he's capable of operating in both, but he's actually middle ground. which is like the logic layer. Like back end is the infrastructure, the building blocks, the foundation. This is like how the stuff happens in the background, the technical stuff. The front end is the part you look at. That's how you interact with the stuff in the back end. But why the two talk to each other, why what you do in the front translates into something in the back, that's the logic step in the middle. And it's just a niche subset of software engineering and development. And so like designing the logic for something to work is what my dad specializes in. And that part, in addition to just a prettier looking front end, is the thing that's missing from crypto that I've seen. I truly believe that we should, like, if I had the ability to throw a switch and make no new tokens launch for like a year, I would do it in a heartbeat, because we've got plenty. There's tens of thousands, there's hundreds of thousands. There is so much infrastructure that exists. There's so many things that you can make these things do, and different ways that you can interact with each other. And all of them are hyper technical and very complicated, and you essentially need a degree to do it. And then there's a few new things that are rolling out from groups like Uniswap, like Coinbase, like Solana, like Farcaster, that are aiming to tackle that front end that just looks too complicated and requires too many steps, and a way that cleans up that middle ground, the logic, to make sure that like we're not taking unnecessary steps that we don't need. Because like I said, Evan, one of the interesting revelations I've had after genuinely leaving the echo chamber and talking to people, is that so many things that we think might be the most important, who's got custody of the keys, the not your keys, not your crypto narrative, people who are not remotely involved in this at all don't care. They just like want something that's going to treat them better and nicer. And if there's a better person who helps them by middlemanning a service in a more respectful and open way, then that's what they're interested in, not the fact that it's not purely decentralized. Yeah. So that middle layer and that better front end is what people care about. And I think we need to like cool it on the more infrastructure, more tokens, and more decentralization aspect for a minute, take a breath, and just let people, let people figure out better ways to present all of this to everybody.
Well said, my friend. Do you have any asks of the audience as you head out?
Nope. That is the final thought. I'm excited. So I'm working on some new guests. I'll keep you guys posted. There's some good talks in the Discord general chat. One more quick reminder: there is still an Evan impersonator. Evan, I can't find him in this. The username. I don't know
why that just thrills me. Have you checked the vents?
Well, I think what's happening is that they're using a proxy. So there's an account in the server, and then there's an account that does the DMing, so that when I get the report, I don't know which one to ban. So
it looked from that DM like they weren't sharing mutual servers. Like it might just be a. Are they?
They're not. That account is not in the server, but it still DM'd someone new really quickly. So, I would. Okay. There's nothing I can do about that until we figure out who the other one is.
I know you got to go to your meeting. I know we're on it. I'll let people know what to do in the meantime. And as far as you're concerned, man,
I am a big fan of this.
I love you.
Thanks, dude. Great show. I will. If you can, just same thing. When you wrap it up, just send me a screenshot of the analytics portion. I'm kind of just collecting.
Yeah, definitely. Collecting. Right. Okay, cool. Yeah.
Tomorrow morning.
Get out of here. Have a good meeting, and we will see you soon.
I will absolutely die on this hill.
Ladies and gentlemen, monsters and machines, people and creatures of all ages, soundboard Alex included.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I want to wrap things up. We'll take our dog and pony show on the road so that we save some gas for tomorrow. Thank you so much for being the best part of this show, for hanging out with us, for making it fun, for bearing with us when we act like we're on a retreat and just, be friends together. It was a really good show today. We had a great conversation. We always do on Panel Tuesday. So as we wrap things up, let me know if you got any trailing questions. Make sure if you're not there yet and you want to follow along, that you jump in the Discord. It's free to join. Hop in the general chat, ask a question, share a link, check if this is a scam, etc., etc. You're not limited like you are here on TikTok. If there's something you asked that we didn't answer, or there's something you just want to share, you want to start building community with these people who are learning like you, all our friends in the comments, then that's where the show lives 24/7. It's at the riseupmorningshow.com. Hey, thank you, Cosmic. I dig that. Double glasses. You can also join the Rise Up Morning Show newsletter there, which is the best, briefest bullets. I hate newsletters, so I try to make it as valuable as possible. No fluff, no filler. If you miss Monday through Thursday streams, anything that we talk about that's particularly newsworthy or that's highly specific, like the bit tensor tau thing that Mac referenced, will go in the newsletter. Or Alex's tutorial on how to block scammers on crypto Twitter. That's going to go in the newsletter. Oh my God. I have to tell you, those are my two favorite gifts. It helps the algorithm when you give us gifts, but it's so not expected. The best thing you can do to support the show is like us, join us in the Discord, join us on the newsletter, subscribe to the YouTube, all of which is at the riseupmorningshow.com. And if you really want to support the show, get a Rise Up Morning Show coffee mug. It is the tastiest way to enjoy your coffee while you sip on good crypto fun and crypto news. Or you can get a premium membership in the Discord. They're 7 days free trial. If you want to learn crypto and accelerate your learning journey, we've got live courses and coaching. Almost all the value from us, you can get it for free. Absolutely. And you should. Certainly before you spend any money. But if you want to accelerate your learning journey, that's the best way to do it. Alex and I have worked really concertedly to figure out how to scale our knowledge to people. And that looks like building out a base of courses that people can take with us live, that people can experience as recordings with notes and transcripts for like a discount. Premium members get discounts to that. Anybody can come in and hang out and be a member. No problem with that. But if you want to accelerate your learning journey, that's the best way to do it with us. We've got a live class coming up this Friday. It's about the most common scams in crypto and how to avoid them. So you can register for that. You can register for coachings, or just get all the free stuff and hang out with us at theriseupmorningshow.com. My commercials get longer and longer. I'm so sorry. And if you've got a question, that's the place to go. Theriseupmorningshow.com. Get in the Discord and hang out with us. I bought crypto for the first $1,200 later. What's a Lady Money? Can you post that in the Discord? I'm not sure I understand that question. And thank you guys. I love reading these comments. I'm going to take just one second and make sure I didn't miss anybody. Thank you very much. You're awesome teachers. Love you, Crypto Bros. Love you, Crypto Bro. Asking my family about the Chivo wallet we talked about. Oh, yeah. Listen, remind me about the Chivo wallet tomorrow, because what a great learning opportunity that story is. The Chivo wallet, TLDR, if you want to do your homework and play along, is a company that onboarded about 4 million El Salvadorans 4 years ago to blockchain. There were successes, there were failures, there were many lessons learned, what could have gone better. But I think overall it's a great success story. And anybody who wants to, like Alex is saying, build a better app experience so that everyday people can start using crypto can learn a lot from it. We got to hear their founder talk at Bitcoin Miami a couple years ago when the Bitcoin conference is in Miami. I loved it. Great case study. Remind me about it. We can talk about it another time. I can make a video about it if you're interested. But thanks for commenting that, Jerry. And thank you, Focus Kid. Thank you, Homer. You had me dying today, Homer, slinging computer to the freeway. Let me know what you got for your result, Focus Kid. I'm pretty sure I'm an ENFJ or an INFJ. The personality type is often referred to as the campaigner. Angel, you asked about zodiac signs. Alex's birthday is in January, so I think he's a Capricorn. Max is in early March, so I think he's in Aquarius, and I'm a Gemini. I'm an Enneagram type 7, which is not a shocker for anybody. And I think I'm caught up on the comments. Everybody's so kind. If you haven't seen it yet, go check out. There's a video on my profile. If you're a crypto creator, I would love for you to stitch me and help me hear how you explain crypto without jargon, without talking about speculation. I'm trying to learn from everybody else's example because, like Alex was saying, we got room to improve. We take it very seriously, but we have room to improve. Tori, you're a 7 too? Oh my gosh. Yeah, Jerry, the quick, oh my gosh, you're drawing me right into it. The quick thing about it is the app, as I understand it, was not hard to use. Chivo Wallet was not hard to use. And it was free money from the government for people, but the problem is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is hard to use as a currency to buy your milk at the grocery store. 1, because it's volatile. 2, because it's slow. 3, because it's expensive. And because it's not really designed to be money that you just spend. And once you spend it all, like, what are you going to do? Buy more? The price is up today, down tomorrow. You know, it was I think if Chivo Wallet had instead converted Bitcoin into stablecoin and maybe even used Bitcoin in escrow to help pay for, you know, with interest, stablecoins, etc., they might have offered more meaningful aid to people that actually would have helped them meet the needs they had in day-to-day life. So from that point, it was sort of a failure. But from the point of adoption, like getting millions of people to use a piece of software on a smartphone that includes cryptocurrency, huge. And they actually were the second team to come in. The first team that was developing this solution with the El Salvadoran government, they'd been working on it for like a year when they determined with about 90 days to go, we can't do this. And so they had to find a new company. That took them a couple of weeks. And then Chivo basically has 60 days to finish building this thing and then roll it out to everyone. This huge piece of like government assistance infrastructure. From that standpoint, it was absolutely a major success. It was incredible. It hurts when you have to sell it. Yeah, it does. And a Gemini 7 and a Gemini 11. Okay, all right. I love you. I'm grateful to you. I am not going to be in Nashville, but Will is. So if you're not there, get in the Discord. I think I've given you enough time. The link is the riseupmorningshow.com. And if you missed it, don't fret. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be back at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern tomorrow.
I am a big fan of this.
I'll bring Soundboard Alex back, and I can't wait to see you there. So thank you, everybody. Have a good day. Be safe. Until next time, my friends, rise up.